Hey everyone. I can't believe I'm doing this stream right now. I can't believe this is something that I have to talk about. I guess I don't have to talk about it, but I feel like it's necessary for me to talk about this as somebody that often talks about trans issues, trans rights, etc. This is important to me. I've been politically active for and I use that term very loosely because most of it is online, to be fair. But I've cared about trans issues specifically for about a year. And ever since I came out as trans, it's mattered even more to me. This matters a lot to me because, well, I think we'll get into why. For those of you who are new here that are watching the VOD, I always make sure to include timestamps in the description below. So if you want to use those, skip around, etc., you're more than welcome to do so. With that being said, I have replaced the regular Streamlabs link that I normally have in the pinned message and in the description below with a link to the Trevor Project. There was a little bit of an internal debate I had with myself this morning while I was taking a shower. Which was whether or not I just do my regular donate here to support me with the Streamlabs link thing, right? I could have done that. And I don't think there would have been anything inherently wrong with that because supporting the channel, I guess, does support something that I think is positive. But with that being said, I just felt really icky about that. So instead, I've replaced the link that I would normally have so that you can support trans people directly. Not only have I linked it, but I've also donated $50 myself. $50 is a lot for me, just so you're aware. I'm not like super mega rich. Like I'm a college student. So I don't just throw away $50 all willy-nilly. Normally, I like to save money because I don't have very much to save in the first place. So I normally save as much as I can. With that being said, I'm not just going to say that I have donated $50. I'm going to show you so that it's not just me virtue signaling. It's me showing that, yeah, I actually donated this money because this is important to me. So I did start out by doing a test donation to make sure it would work and whatnot. But yeah. And then, yeah, so that was the confirmation of the first donation. Here's me doing the second donation. And as for the comment, it says for Nex Benedict, who was the victim of the hate crime that we're going to be talking about today. So this is the $50. I've obviously censored all my information and whatnot because I don't want to get doxxed. I think that goes without saying. And then, yeah. So, and then, yep. And then this is what the screen you get. And then here are the email receipts. So with that being said, if you have spare money, I recommend donating to the Trevor Project. Again, linked in the pinned message and in the description below. $50 for me is a lot. So if you are in a good financial situation, at least you're not obligated to do anything, but it would definitely help. With that being said, I guess we'll get into the story soon because this is a really difficult topic. And if you're wondering, yes, the person in the thumbnail is the individual who was murdered. In fact, we're going to be going over an article that talks about this. They're non-binary. Their name is Nex Benedict, and they were 16 and they died one day after being assaulted in a bathroom at a Wasso High School in Oklahoma. So, it's scary, the direction this country is headed, if nothing else. I'm going to try to be entertaining still, but this is a very difficult topic and a very depressing story, so I will be taking it more seriously than the usual, oh, here's the YouTube drama stuff, let me be super high energy, right? This is something I genuinely care about, and I think that there are political messages that can't be ignored at this point. You might not care about politics, and that's fine, but with that being said, this goes beyond that. This isn't just politics. This is basic human rights that are being violated blatantly. Not just by mere coincidence, not by accident, but on purpose, and we'll get into that. So, somebody in chat says, I give up on this country. I don't care anymore. It's expected. Nothing we can do. I don't necessarily agree with that, simply because I think there are things we can do. While it's the case that individually you can't fix the country, you can do things that help. And that's all we can really ask for, right? Am I going to single-handedly fix the United States of America? No. But I will do everything I can to at least help a little bit. That's all anybody can really ask for. And the more people that help, the better. This is also why local elections are important. They might not seem important. They might seem less important, but they're actually the most important. This wasn't essay, right? No, it was not. It was a brutal murder. So, without further ado, I guess we can start with an article from independent.co.uk. It's titled, Oklahoma Banned Trans Students from Bathrooms. Now a bullied student is dead after a fight. So that the headline is that and the following. Nex Benedict died one day after a fight in a school bathroom. Their mother, Sue Benedict, tells Bevan Hurley that the gender-fluid teenager endured more than a year of abuse for simply being who they were. And this is an image of the victim who died. They're also in the thumbnail. I was also very deliberate with designing the thumbnail with yellow and purple, because those are the two main colors of the non-binary flag. It's yellow, purple, white, and black. And I guess their clothing in this image is the white and the black. So I think it fits perfectly. All right. Whenever Oklahoma teenager Nex Benedict was bullied at school for being transgender, their mother, Sue Benedict, would encourage the 16-year-old to rise above their tormentors. I said, "You've got to be strong and look the other way, because these people don't know who you are," Miss Benedict told The Independent in a phone interview. I didn't know how bad it had gotten. The bullying had started in earnest at the beginning of 2023, the 2023 school year, a few months after Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt, more like Kevin Shit, fucking loser, Governor Kevin Shit signed a bill that required public students to use bathrooms that matched the sex listed on their birth certificates. So, for anyone that thinks that, oh, there's nothing wrong with voting for Republican politicians, politics are meaningless, they don't matter, who cares about voting? This is what happens when the wrong person ends up in office. They pass bills like this that directly lead to negative outcomes. Kevin Shit, and yes, I'm going to call him Kevin Shit because A, it's funny, and B, I have no respect for this disgusting loser piece of shit. So I think it's very fitting. Is personally responsible for this innocent child's death. And I will stand behind that because I genuinely believe that to be the case. I don't think it's a coincidence that the bullying started right after the bill was signed. So, a few weeks ago, on the 7th of February, the bullying allegedly erupted in violence when Nex suffered severe head injuries during a, quote, physical altercation at Owasso High School, according to the Owasso Police Department. So, this was on February 7th. This was before they died. So, clearly by then, something should have been done. So what was done about it? Oh wait, nothing was done about it. Because it continued. Sue Benedict told The Independent she was called to the school that day to find Nex badly beaten with bruises over their face and eyes, with scratches on the back of their head. Nex told her that they and another transgender student at Owasso High School had been in a fight with 3 older girls in a girl's bathroom. Interesting how that happens in the bathroom. I wonder if that has anything to do with, I don't know, the bill that was signed in Oklahoma. Nex was knocked to the ground during the fight and hit their head on the floor, according to their mother. Miss Benedict says she was furious that the school had failed to call an ambulance or the police. She said the school then informed her Nex was being suspended for 2 weeks. This isn't a joke. This is actually what happened. So, long story short, a non-binary student was basically hate crimed. And then as a result of them being hate crimed, they were suspended for 2 weeks for being hate crimed. She took Nex to the Bailey Medical Center in Owasso for treatment. They spoke to the police school resource officer at the medical facility and were discharged. That night, Nex went to bed with a sore head and eventually fell asleep while listening to music, Miss Benedict said. On the 8th of February, Nex was getting ready to go to Tulsa with Miss Benedict for an appointment when they collapsed in the family living room. Jeez. Miss Benedict called an ambulance, and EMT officers arrived to find Nex had stopped breathing. Nex was declared dead that evening in the hospital. Okay, so they did die from this specifically. In a statement, hold on, I need some water. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's continue. In a statement, the Owasso Police Department said they were, quote, conducting a very active and thorough investigation of the time and events that led up to the death of the student. Owasso Police Department spokesperson Nick Boatman told The Independent that police were awaiting the results of toxicology and autopsy reports from the Oklahoma Medical Examiner's Office before determining whether anyone will be charged. In an update on Tuesday 20th of February, Mr. Boatman said detectives were interviewing school staff and students and would be submitting their investigation to the Tulsa County District Attorney's Office for prosecution review. An Owasso Public Schools spokesperson declined to provide information about the assault or the school's response when contacted by The Independent, citing the active police investigation. Now, what's interesting is here it says anti-trans social media influencer, Chaya Rychik, whatever the fuck her name is, the retard who runs Libs of TikTok, frequently posted inflammatory videos, LGBTQ advocates say. Apparently, is this her? Is this the Libs of TikTok face reveal? The ugly fuck? This is the ugly fuck who posts hateful content. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe her getting clocked as trans despite being cis based on her jawline, eyebrows, facial structure, etc. Maybe that's why she hates trans people so much. I don't know. Now, what's interesting is it's been linked, this specifically, has been linked to the hateful rhetoric spewed by leaders in our state and the Libs of TikTok account run by far-right social media influencer shitface Rye Shit. Okay, that's what I'm going to call her. Miss Rye Shit, a New York-based former real estate agent, became a cause... celebrity among conservatives for using her Libs of TikTok account to post edited anti-trans videos that target public school teachers and librarians. So basically, she's a Nazi. An Owasso high school teacher who Nex greatly admired resigned in 2022 after they were featured in one of Miss Rye Shitface's posts. Miss Rye Shitface did not respond to a request for comment by The Independent. Of course she didn't. She's a fucking pussy. She's too much of a fucking bitch to take accountability. So of course she's not going to take accountability for how her hateful rhetoric clearly has negative impacts on X. Just call it Twitter, okay? It's not X, it's Twitter. She denied any link to death and said she was unjustly being blamed for a murder. Oh yeah, no, I had nothing to do with the murder that is caused by the fucking hateful rhetoric that I spew. Yeah, no, I have nothing to do with it. You know, it couldn't be the case that my hateful rhetoric has anything to do with this person dying as a result of hateful rhetoric broadly. Because imagine taking personal accountability for your own rhetoric, for the shit that you spew. And when it turns out that your rhetoric is more than just rhetoric and it actually has outcomes, you fucking decide to not comment on the situation and not take any personal accountability. Because that might require you to have some sort of self-reflection. Let's continue. Quote, when you're old school, you don't always understand it. Like many parents, Sue Benedict and her husband, Walter, at times struggled to understand the nuances of Nex's gender fluidity, which is fine, I think. Not everybody is going to understand. I think that if somebody makes a genuine good faith effort to understand somebody's gender identity, whether it be a gender fluid, non-binary person, whatever it may be, if they're genuinely trying their best to be supportive, even if they don't understand it, that's all you can really ask for, is use the right pronouns, don't dead name, etc. Just make a good faith effort. Yeah, you might make mistakes as a parent, right? My parents can make mistakes sometimes too. It happens. But that's different from a malicious beating or malicious laws or rhetoric, right? There's a clear difference there. And I think it's important to point that out. So let's continue. Miss Benedict is Nex's biological grandmother and raised them since they were 2 months old, along with her 5 other children. She formally adopted Nex a few years ago. She told The Independent that Nex was always understanding if she used an incorrect pronoun or called Nex by their birth name. Quote, Nex did not see themselves as male or female. Miss Benedict said. Nex saw themselves as right down the middle. I was still learning about it. Nex was teaching me that. When you're old school, you don't always understand it, her husband, Walter, told The Independent. But it would be very boring if we were all the same. It's on the inside that matters, which is true. And I think this is an image of Nex with their cat, which is really cute. Nex Benedict with their cat Zeus. The straight A student was going places, their mother said. So this is a straight A student. So I think we have reason to believe that they weren't the ones starting fights. They seemed like they were a good student. They seemed like a nice person. And here they are with their cat Zeus. It's an adorable little kitty cat. Look at that. You can't tell me that this person with their kitty cat, this 16-year-old child, deserved any of this. They didn't. The family who traced part of their roots to the Choctaw oh God, I'm so sorry. I should not be mispronouncing things, but whatever. Encouraged open discussions about questions of gender and identity. I was very open with my children to be who and what they thought was best, Miss Benedict said. They could talk to me about anything as long as respect goes both ways. A child needs to figure out who they are and what they want to be, and you cannot force it upon them. Nex's sister, Malia Pila, I believe that's how you pronounce their name, who is also a member of the LGBTQ community, told The Independent in an interview that Nex's fluid gender identity was not an issue nor anything that anybody cared about within the family. Nex was a straight A student who enjoyed drawing, reading, playing video games, Ark, and Minecraft. Yo, we got a fellow Minecraft gamer. Yo, that's what fucking sucks about this. I feel like Nex is somebody I would have been friends with in high school. That's why this really fucking sucks. This is somebody I would have been friends with. We probably would have played Minecraft together in high school. But granted, they're 16, I'm 19. But but if we were like the same age and went to the same high school, right? We probably would have been friends. I don't know. I was a bit of a fucking edgelord back then. I was in the closet. But still. Regardless, let's continue. And they were devoted to their cat Zeus, Miss Benedict said. I was so proud of Nex. They were going someplace. They were so free, she said. In April 2022, Owasso High School teacher Tyler Rinn, I believe that's how it's pronounced, was featured in a... Oh, God, I can't pronounce words. I'm so sorry. Surreptitiously filmed Libs of TikTok post telling students, if your parents don't accept who you are, fuck them. So, let's watch the video and see what it is. So, apparently, I believe a former Owasso student reacts to Nex Benedict's death. So, with that being said, let's play the clip. Oh, I can't full screen it. I'm sorry. All right, well, we'll do the closest thing to full screening it that I can do, okay? All right.
To be honest, at first, I didn't feel anything. I couldn't. What am I supposed to feel at that point? Knowing that someone that I could have used to know, someone I used to walk in the halls with, someone I could have been to class with, is no longer a part of our lives. No longer a part of the community. It's a community that I love, and now she's gone.
Yeah. So, this doesn't just affect this doesn't just affect trans people. This affects people that are close to them. Did libs of TikTok get them killed? They certainly didn't help, to say the very least. I would argue that they are at least somewhat responsible. Them and what was the name of the shitter Republican politician? I'm trying to find it. Kevin Stitt, or Kevin Shit, as I like to call him. I believe that Kevin Shit is the most responsible because he passed legislation, but that doesn't absolve libs of TikTok of any responsibility either. So the incident sparked a backlash in the small Oklahoma city of 40,000 residents, and Mr. Rinn resigned from the Owasso public school system. Nex was very angry about it, Miss Benedict said. Miss Benedict said that teachers who encouraged debate about gender issues were not promoting sexualized content, which is objectively true. Discussing issues that are not sexual in nature is not promoting sexualized content. There's nothing sexual about being non-binary or any gender identity that isn't the gender you were assigned at birth. They're allowing students to be who they are. Miss Benedict said she first became aware that Nex was being bullied at school in early 2023. They'd go straight to their room and put it on their radio. And I'd say, okay, you got to decompress for a little bit and then come out and talk about it. Miss Benedict said she remains furious at the school for failing to call police or seek medical attention for Nex, and wants to see the children who allegedly assaulted Nex punished. So many people push kids to be one thing, and you've got to let them find themselves and be who they should be, Miss Benedict said. Society has got to see them as they are, accept them and go on, because we are all people. And I couldn't agree any more. I think Miss Benedict is the perfect example of how you should treat your child if they come out to you as trans or non-binary. You might not fully understand it. Hell, I don't have a perfect understanding of gender fluidity. I have a decent understanding, more than most, but I'm not gender fluid. That's not my experience. But that doesn't matter, because I don't get to decide how other people live their lives. And I think regardless of whether or not you understand or don't understand, I think the least you can do is be a decent person. Let people figure themselves out. That's all you can really do. And that's all you can ask for as a trans person, right? I don't expect everybody to have a perfect understanding of me or my gender identity as a trans woman. I get it. Not everybody's going to understand. But that's okay, as long as people are respectful, right? Same line of logic applies here. Oh my god, I have to drink a lot of water. So, there's a section about, quote, woke ideology. Last August, a Libs of TikTok post showing an edited video critical of a public school librarian in Tulsa led to several consecutive days of bomb threats to schools in the district. Wow, what a wacky coincidence, huh? This is truly horrible and sad? Yeah. Guidance, advice, and love? Yeah. Those are things that matter. Now, Miss Reichitz, anti-LGBTQ... You know what? Actually, no. I'm going to call her Mr. Reichit, okay? So that I can disrespect him on two fronts. You know? Since Mr. Reichit believes that it's good to misgender people, I'm gonna misgender him specifically. So Mr. Reichit's anti-LGBTQ posts have been linked to nearly 36 threats made towards schools, libraries, hospitals, and businesses across 16 states, according to a recent NBC News investigation. Last month, Oklahoma's Republican Superintendent of Public Schools, Ryan Walters, appointed Mr. Rye Shit to the state's Library Advisory Committee. Mr. Walters has not commented publicly on Nex's death. Oh, of course the fucking pussy hasn't. What a little bitch. Because of course he's gonna be all loud and, oh no, the woke agenda is ruining this country. The West is fallen. We need to end woke ideology. But as soon as there's actual consequences to your actions, you suddenly get real quiet and don't actually want to take accountability or bite the bullet and say that, yes, this is what happens when this type of legislation that I have advocated for gets passed. So instead of owning up to the things that he has said and done, owning up to the fact that, yes, these are the outcomes of my actions, he decides to be a little bitch and not comment. Whoa, what happened? A non-binary student was murdered for being trans, is what happened. Also, you look really good right now. I can't lie. Why, thank you. I appreciate that. Average Republican politician at this point. And this is why local elections matter. This is why it's important to vote. Even if you don't like the Democratic politician, whoever it may be, it's important to vote for whoever the most left-leaning politician is that has a viable chance at winning, right? You might not like Joe Biden or whatever, but if a Republican gets in office, we're going to be seeing shit like this on a national level. So if you don't want to see this on a national level, then I recommend voting for Dark Brandon, okay? He might be a little bit cringe when it comes to defending, Israel, but let's not pretend like Trump would be any better on any of those issues. And it's better to have a Democrat in office who does nothing than somebody that actively does harm. So, once again, that's why this is important. So, let's continue. Mr. Walters has not commented publicly on Nex's death. Obviously, we've established. He's just a little fucking bitch. He put out a video on X on President's Day decrying radical woke college professors for placing Donald Trump at the bottom of a list of the United States' greatest presidents. So, rather than addressing the issue that is actually an outcome of this type of rhetoric, the type of rhetoric that this disgusting piece of shit spews, he decides he would rather comment against radical woke college professors because they didn't rank Donald Trump high enough on the list of the United States' greatest presidents. We judge presidents by outcomes, not woke ideology, he said. Freedom Oklahoma, an LGBTQ advocacy group, blamed Oklahoman lawmakers and Mr. Reichert. Gotta remember that he doesn't like correctly gendering people, so he loses pronoun privileges, for promoting bigotry and intolerance towards trans students after Nex's death, which I believe that the LGBTQ advocacy group is objectively correct here. Objectively. By every metric. This is what happens when you spew hateful rhetoric. This is what happens when you fucking pass objectively harmful laws. This was specifically a bathroom bill that was passed, by the way, just to remind you. And it just so happens to be the case that the fucking hate crime that killed Nex happened in the fucking bathroom. So you have to wonder, would this person have died? Would this innocent child have died had they not been in this bathroom? Had this bill not been passed? The group said that Mr. Rye Shit continues to use his platform in a way that leads others to threaten real harm at Oklahoma kids, which is objectively true, by the way. We want to be clear. Whether Nex died as a direct result of injuries sustained in the brutal hate-motivated attack at school or not, Nex's death is a result of being the target of physical and emotional harm because of who Nex was. The group wrote, Nex had a light in them that was so big. Since Nex's death, Miss Benedict said she has barely slept and been walking in a blur. When it came time to place an obituary, Miss Benedict said she provided Nex's birth name by accident. This led to some media coverage of Nex's death using their birth name or dead name. Again, this is an example of somebody making a mistake. This doesn't make you a bad person, by the way, right? Again, what matters is having a good faith effort to do good. When you are going through something like this and you lose a child, you're not thinking straight. We're getting a headstone done, and Nex will be on there, she said. Nex's funeral was held at the Maori funeral service on the 15th of February. After the service, police officers from Owasso and the neighboring city of Collinsville accompanied members of the local chapter of Bikers Against Child Abuse as they provided an escort from the service to the graveside. A GoFundMe page, oh shit, I should have linked this. A GoFundMe page set up to help with funeral costs has raised $28,000, and Miss Benedict said she plans to donate most of the money to LGBTQ anti-bullying organizations. I wish I had read this beforehand. I should have donated to this specifically. I will do that after stream, and I will include a video linked after the fact. It'll be proof that I donate. I'll donate like an additional $25. Nex had a light in them that was so big. They had so many dreams. I want their light to keep shining for everyone. That light was so big and bright and beautiful. I want everyone to remember Nex that way. And I couldn't agree more. And with that being said, I'm going to link this in chat. I wasn't aware of this. So, donate here to support the victim and their family. So, we're going to pin this message specifically, and under video details, we're going to add an additional link. Okay? So, hate to be the person who stops stream to do this, but this is really important. So, donate here to support Nex Benedict and their family. Because this is important. So, let me save. And there we go. All right. With that being said, first of all, hold on, let me is there a way to do this on screen where hold on, let me, oh, okay, so it has to be, all right. Hold on. Okay, yeah, there's no way for me to do this on stream without doxing myself, never mind. All right, I will be donating money to the link that I sent after stream, and I will be linking proof of it in the description after the fact. So I want to make it clear that, yeah, sorry my voice is kind of fucked. I kind of have a little bit of a cold, and the fact that I'm covering such a serious topic definitely doesn't help. I would shut down democratic things until it's reformed and people can chill and loving their brothers. I wish it was that simple. It's not. It's really not. I wish it was. But it goes beyond just that. You have to keep in mind that situations like these are indicative of a broader societal issue with both the people that vote and the people that, well, you know, you get the point. So, damn. Sorry for the dead air. This is such a serious topic. I want to go over some of the trans legislation, right, in Oklahoma, right? So a bill was mentioned that was passed. It was a bathroom bill. So I want to see what the bill is. So here's a related article, okay? This was from the 26th of May in 2022. And this is around the time that I and other people on the left started talking about something called the trans genocide. Now, some people thought that that was an over-exaggeration, that that's too far to call it that. But when it leads to specifically trans people dying, is that not what it is? When legislation is being passed in order to harm trans people in a way that leads to outcomes where they either get killed in a hate crime, like what we saw here, or they kill themselves because they don't have access to necessary medical care. Just because they're not getting lined up in fucking concentration camps in Nazi Germany doesn't mean it's not a genocide. With that being said, I want to go over an article about the bill that is arguably what directly caused this innocent child to get murdered. So, the Oklahoma governor signs transgender bathroom bill. So, the governor is named Kevin Stitt, but I'm going to be referring to him as Kevin Shit because he's a dog shit governor. So, it's a bill requiring public school students to only use the bathroom of the sex listed on their birth certificate. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Shit has signed a bill requiring public school students to only use the bathroom of the sex listed on their birth certificate. About a dozen conservative states have passed laws targeting the transgender population over bathroom use, participation in school sports, and gender-affirming treatments or surgery for young people. Again, these are all bills that are meant to increase the suicide rate of trans people. Whether you realize it or not as a voter, that is ultimately the outcome. Scorpio, I know you're joking, but this is not the time, all right? Normally I'm fine with edgy jokes, but this is really not. This is not the time. All right, somebody was fucking killed. All right, normally I'm not like a let me morally grandstand over this type of person, but like this is different, okay? Because somebody fucking died, so you can rewind the VOD. Sorry, no worries, you just tuned in. So, the bill passed overwhelmingly in the Republican-controlled House and Senate last week, and Kevin Shit signed it on Wednesday. Isn't it a crazy coincidence how in all of the states that are controlled by Republicans, it seems to be the case that bills that lead to a higher death rate for trans people get passed? Wow, what a magical coincidence that is. It's almost like when authoritarians are in power that want to harm trans people, harmful outcomes that apply to trans people occur. Again, this is why it's important to vote for the right politicians, right? This is why it's important to vote for Democrats. Even though Democrats also suck, they suck less. They're not actively going out of their way to increase the death rate of trans people, whether it be through the suicide rate or the rate at which they get killed from hate crimes, right? Again, it's been statistically proven in terms of the bathroom stuff that when trans people are forced to use the bathrooms of that are not of their choosing, that they get hate crime at a much higher rate. This has been statistically proven. This isn't a fucking secret. This is not rocket science. This is just basic statistics, right? So again, it's also basic. You can look up any statistics when it comes to the outcomes of gender affirming care and how when you remove it, you increase the suicide rate of trans people. It is not a coincidence that all of these bills just so happen to magically increase the rate at which trans people die. So I think it is perfectly fair to argue that these people are in favor of a trans genocide, that they are in favor of more trans people dying, because that is the outcome. Now, you could argue that the average voter might not be aware of it, and that's fair. They're not going to be aware of it. Right? But that's the point of me doing streams like this, is to create a level of awareness where regardless of what your political affiliations are, what you believe generally, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, these are the politicians that want trans people to die. That is what they want. They do not care about you. They don't care about their constituency. They just are bad people. That's all there is to it. They want power. That's all they care about, is power, money, and if that power consists of them killing trans people, then that's what they're going to do to obtain that power. Let's continue with the article. The bill passed overwhelmingly in the Republican-controlled House and Senate last week, and Andrew Schitt signed it on Wednesday. It's about safety. It's about protection. It's about common sense, said Republican Representative Danny. What's a good nickname for this piece of shit? Danny Williams. Danny Willie Ass, okay? Danny Willie Ass, the House author of the bill. The goal of this bill is to protect our children. Really? The goal is to protect the children? You mean like the non-binary 16-year-old that was fucking murdered in the bathroom and hate crimed to death in Oklahoma? Is that an example of a child being protected? Wow, you must really care about the protection of the children. When it has been statistically proven that bills like this do the fucking opposite and lead to more people dying, and that just simply allowing people to use whatever fucking bathroom they want has the opposite outcome, where it actually doesn't increase the rate at which people fucking die. But no, it's about safety and protection. Even though every single fucking statistic that exists says the fucking opposite. And of course, they have to throw in common sense, which is the biggest non-argument. Because all you're really saying is, it's common sense, it's something that everybody knows. Except, what you deem to be common sense should not supersede empirical data. Empirical data is what we should be basing these bills and legislation off of, not what you personally feel like you think is common sense. And you'll notice that it's Democrats who are opposing the bill. So again, you might say that Democrats don't really do that much, and you would be correct. Democrats are far from perfect, but at least they're opposing bills like these. So, Democrats who opposed the bill said it singles out and targets transgender students, putting them at risk of ridicule, which I think is an understatement from the Democrats. It's not just putting them at a risk of ridicule, which, granted, is objectively true. It puts them at risk of fucking dying, as we've seen in this specific situation where this innocent 16-year-old non-binary child was murdered in the fucking bathroom. It doesn't get any more clear-cut than that. It is clearly and unambiguously a result of legislation like this. The bill was proposed after Stillwater Public Schools declined to change a policy allowing students to use the bathroom that agrees with their gender identity unless forced by law to do otherwise. You see, Republicans will say, oh, we care about freedom, we care about people's rights, but then they go out of their way to, at a state level, because that's as much as they can do, at a state level, infringe upon people's rights. They don't care what the local governments have to say. They don't care what the schools have to say or what reduces the most amount of harm. So instead of protecting people's rights like they should, or even just leaving it up to smaller local governments and schools, they instead infringe upon people's rights and completely overstep their boundaries, and in a way that I would argue is unconstitutional, yet they care about freedom. They care about America, the land of the free. Yet that's fucking bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. If you can get out of the red states, I wish it was something that everybody could do, simply just moving. But I guess that's what destiny would argue. Anyways. Where were we? I'm fucking pissed off. We're not even halfway through this second article yet, and I already need some more fucking water. All right, let's continue. Nicole McAfee, executive director of Freedom Oklahoma, which supports the rights of lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgender, and queer people, said the bill violates federal law, and she is discussing legal action with other organizations, including the ACLU and Lambda Legal. Now, what's interesting is she's correct here, is that this does violate federal law, but at the same time, this is the problem with Democrats being the stereotypical do-nothing Democrats. You should still vote for them because it's better than actively causing harm and making the problem worse, but they're not doing enough. And this is why local politics matter. This is why it is important to vote in every single local election, no matter whether it be whatever, as local as it gets, like like your fucking town or whatever, or a state election, whatever it may be. It's all important because you cannot rely on the federal government to protect you or your rights. Similarly, you should also vote for Democratic politicians on federal elections because you don't want a federal government run by Republican Nazis, let's be real. That's basically what they are at this point. You don't want a Nazi federal government that does the same thing that state governments do, where they overstep their boundaries. They say, we don't care what the local governments say. We're going to do whatever the fuck we want and enforce our hatred of trans people at a state level. Now, as soon as Republicans have power federally, they suddenly, for whatever wacky reason, magically stop caring about state rights. They claim to care about it, but as soon as they have power in the federal government, they suddenly stop talking about state rights. They get real quiet about it, and instead they talk about how they should enact federal legislation that targets minority groups. Suddenly they change their tune a little bit, and suddenly they don't care about preventing the federal government from infringing upon state rights. No, they don't care about that. They only care about, the reason they care about state rights when it comes to abortion is because they know damn well that the federal government isn't going to ban abortion. So instead, they want to ban as much abortion as possible, so they leave it up to the states so that some abortion is banned instead of no abortion. So again, they don't care about state rights. And as soon as a Republican president, whether it be Donald Trump or some other fascist or neo-Nazi comes into office, they're not going to care about state rights. They're going to say, no, fuck that. What we want, which is anti-trans legislation, ought to supersede the trans rights that are protected by the states. So even if you're in California or Illinois or Maine or whatever, where your rights are currently protected, still important to vote at a federal level. Still important to vote at a state level. You don't want a blue state to become a purple state, which might become a red state. You don't want you don't want a blue state to become a purple state and then a red state. Similarly, if you live in a red state, you want it to become a purple state. If you live in a purple state, you want it to become a blue state. I don't get why the idea of Nazi is used to point at Republicans, because it's the same underlying ideology, right? The reason I use it is very deliberate. It's stigmatized, because people hear Nazi and they know it's bad. But why are Nazis bad? It's not because it was a German-specific thing. It wasn't just because they were promoting the Aryan race being superior to the Jews, right? It doesn't all I am doing is replacing the variables, and it works. There is a trans genocide. And if we don't prevent it, I don't know if it'll get to a point of literally having trans people in camps with pink triangles and shit, but it's not going to get far off from that. At the end of the day, it is definitionally a genocide, what they are trying to do. And I think that speaks volumes. I don't think I need to say that, well, technically, they're not trying to kill Jewish people, so they're not Nazis in that way, but but at the same time, it's literally, like, if you look at the people that, for instance, support Ron DeSantis, you will notice a disproportionate amount of Nazis. Look at the fucking Nazi rallies in Florida. They all support Ron DeSantis, Meatball Ron. They support him. Why do you think that is? Why do you think there was a fucking joke of an advertising campaign for Ron DeSantis? It wasn't just some random fans of him, by the way. It was an official Ron DeSantis campaign that literally used Nazi iconography to promote him. Do you think that's a coincidence? That would be the iconography used for the most blatantly anti-trans politician? No. I don't think it is much of a leap to say that people that are extremely anti-trans are basically just Nazis. Because at this point, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and be like, oh, they're just Republicans. They have different ideas. No. I think that they should be stigmatized. I think that we should say what they are. This also reminds me of the case of the trans woman who got sent to a female prison that ended up raping some woman there. What? What are you talking about? Do you have any statistical evidence of trans people disproportionately causing harm by being able to use the bathrooms that they want to use? Oh, wait. No. So, because you're commenting this type of shit on a stream about a dead person, I'm just gonna fucking hide your channel. Because normally I would argue with you, but at this point, if we're talking about the fucking serious ass situation, we're not gonna tolerate any bullshit. So, hope you enjoyed your stay. With that being said, God damn. Yeah, no, I think that it's fair to just say that Ron DeSantis, Meatball Ron, is basically just a Nazi. Because he is. It's like, okay, he might not directly call himself a Nazi, but he says Nazi talking points. He pushes for Nazi legislation. He does Nazi book burning-esque shit, right? The book bannings, censorship, etc. It's all Nazi shit. It's all authoritarian Nazi shit. So I could pretend like that's not what it is, but I would be lying. That would be intellectually dishonest. So instead, I'm just going to say it how it is and call it what it is. So, let's continue. This law is unconstitutional. This is important, by the way, because Republicans pretend to care about, America's such a great country. I love the Constitution and freedom. Except when it comes to the actual legislation that they want to pass, they don't give a shit about the Constitution and directly go against it. In fact, if anything, Republicans fucking hate the Constitution beyond the aesthetics of it. They like the aesthetic of America and freedom and all that shit, but they genuinely hate the ideas behind it. They fucking despise the actual ideology that the Constitution was comprised of. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't be passing things that are unconstitutional. I have to leave. Goodbye, Lugbear's Shack. I hope you enjoyed your stay. A violation of Title IX of the Civil Rights Act. And more than anything, it is unnecessarily cruel for the sake of cruelty. This is important because this is true. There is no reason beyond just flat out cruelty for legislation like this. In terms of the outcomes, it is just cruelty. That is it. That is all there is to it. McAfee said in a statement, "Over the last day, we've heard people talk about school safety over and over again," which is ironic, by the way, because this actually reduces school safety. Let's not pretend like this innocent child and their safety was not infringed upon as a result of this legislation. This legislation is what led to them dying, okay? So there is a direct impact, a very direct impact. So Kevin Shit, as a politician, can claim he cares about, I care about safety, but it's the literal fucking opposite. He actually, if anything, would like to reduce the safety of innocent trans people, such as Nex Benedict. Because is he gonna see this or look at any of the overwhelming data that supports trans people being able to use the bathrooms that they want and say, yes, I was wrong, let me change my mind about this legislation. Of fucking course not. Because he doesn't actually give a shit about the safety of children. He would rather innocent trans people die than do the right thing. Over the last day, we've heard people talk about school safety over and over again. But with a flick of his pen, Governor Shit said that safety doesn't extend to already vulnerable, transgender, and two-spirit young people. Shit, a Republican running for re-election earlier this year, signed bills to prevent transgender girls from playing on female sports teams in public schools or universities, and to prohibit transgender people from changing their birth certificate. So again, and it's not just against the trans youth either. The argument of, oh, they're just against young people being trans, but they're okay with the adults. No, that's a fucking lie. And it's been a lie for fucking ever, right? They never cared about trans adults. Oh yeah, we just want to protect the kids, ooh woo, was never an intellectually honest argument. That was always a fucking lie. Always a lie. Again, these bathroom bills aren't just about the trans youth either. They apply to adults who did nothing wrong. They don't want grown adults to be able to change their births, the gender on their birth certificate. They don't want grown adults even to have access to necessary medical care if they're trans. Reality is, conservatives are obsessed with trans people because they watch the porn and then feel insecure about it and then put it out on trans because it makes them question themselves when it's normal. Yeah, absolutely. That is one of the reasons. And these people are all demons, right? Republican politicians are subhuman. We've known that for years. Not just subhuman because they're politicians. Granted, politicians in general tend to be disingenuous pieces of shit that, don't really have souls or care about that much. Not that I believe in the concept of a soul, but you get the point. But Republican politicians are especially evil. They are morally bankrupt. They go out of their way to harm minority groups for no reason other than simple hatred. That's all they care about. They're all evil. And at the end of the day, if you support them, whether you realize it or not, and you can change this, you might not be an evil person. You might not realize what you're supporting, but you can learn not to support people like this, right? Even if it might seem like it's not that big of a deal because you've been conditioned a certain way. As the average voter, you might not understand what these people do when it comes to actually passing legislation and what this legislation entails. At the end of the day, were the Nazis in Nazi Germany who voted in favor of Hitler, were they all inherently evil people? Not necessarily, but they became evil. They became supporters of something that's indefensible. And I urge anyone that supports any of this to reevaluate their position. You don't want to become like the Nazis of Nazi Germany, who, while it might be the case that it was because they were misled, they ultimately led to harmful outcomes and supported harmful outcomes. Inversely, you can do things to prevent harmful outcomes from occurring. We don't want this country to get to a place where A, this is okay, and B, it gets worse than this. Because this is already significantly worse than anything we've had in the past. From 2005 to till now, it's gotten worse it's worse now by a lot than it was in 2015. In 2015, trans people had an easier time existing. It was easier to be trans in 2015 than it is now, almost a decade later. You want to know why? Because every time Republicans are in office, they fucking make everything 5 trillion times worse. And every time a Democrat is in office, it doesn't get worse, so that's better. That's why it's important to vote. But at the same time, They don't do very much to fix it. Has Joe Biden done anything in office to say, hey, this law is unconstitutional. You can't do this? No, because he's a little fucking bitch and he doesn't do anything. So instead of saying to Oklahoma, you cannot do this, this is unconstitutional, this is a direct violation of the Civil Rights Act, instead he just decides, what if I just ignored this? What if I just didn't do anything about it? And granted, that's better than whatever the fuck Donald Trump would do, which is make the problem worse at a national level. But still, Joe Biden should have stepped up. Joe Biden should have stepped up and prevented this ages ago. Because if he did, Nex would not be dead right now. They would not have been killed in the fucking bathroom at school. School, the place that is supposed to be a safe and inclusive environment for everybody. But it doesn't seem to be the case, and you have to wonder why. You have to look at what would be causing that to not be the case. And it seems to be the case that legislation like this is directly what leads to this. How does voting matter? You're getting the same outcome each time? You are mistaken, my friend. You are mistaken. See, when you vote, whether it be for Joe Biden or Donald Trump or neither, you are inadvertently promoting one of two positions. You are either A, decreasing the chances of a fascist like Donald Trump of getting into office. And while it could be the case that you could argue, well, no matter what, there's bad outcomes, even if Joe Biden is in office and doesn't do enough, you should still vote for him. Why? Because him doing nothing is less bad than Donald Trump actively doing something malicious. So if you don't vote for anybody, what you're implicitly doing is throwing away a vote that would go to Joe Biden. And that vote would otherwise decrease the chances of a fascist being in office. And if Donald Trump or whoever it is that's a Republican ends up in office, it's not just that they do nothing. They make the problem worse. And there's a good chance that they would be promoting national legislation that is analogous to this. So this would not only fuck over people that are in red states, but people in blue states. So it's important to vote for people like Joe Biden, so that, say, somebody like me, who is, I don't know, in a blue state, would get fucked over. You don't want me to get fucked over. I'm in a blue state. Why should I have to suffer the consequences of national legislation against trans people? That is very viable, considering where we are in terms of the culture war and in terms of, more importantly, legislation that gets passed. Again, conservatives and Republicans don't give a shit about state rights. If they want to impose their will, they're going to. And you better believe that they would be going to. Biden is just as fascist. Oh, no, he is not. He is not. You can say he does not enough to protect people's rights, and you would be correct. You can say he's shit. He's dog shit. And you would also be correct. But again, in terms of if you're going to take a utilitarian stance, which I do, you should still vote for Biden because he is the lesser of two evils. He is the only other viable candidate that isn't Donald Trump. He's not Trump, and he has a chance of winning, basically. So you should vote for him, because even though it sucks, I would rather it be only some states that can get away with passing anti-trans legislation and doing this shit, rather than national legislation against trans people being passed. National legislation that infringes upon my rights. At least Joe Biden isn't passing national legislation at a federal level that prevents me from having rights. Trump likely would. He most likely would. Considering where we're at now, we're not in 2016 to 2020. It's worse now. We have less rights, broadly speaking, in this country than we did in 2016. So if you think that oh, it's not really going to do anything, because I guess all Trump really did was the military ban, which was still bad, by the way. That's worse than anything Joe Biden did in terms of trans issues. If you think that's the extent of how bad it's going to be, you are sadly mistaken. We don't live in 2016 or 2017 or 2018 or 2019 or 2020. So the legislation that's going to get passed is going to be more similar and analogous to what we've seen as a general trend at a state level. The idea of all my opponents are evil is childish. Well, okay, but it's not on the basis of them being opponents. It's on the basis of them being evil and doing evil things, right? So, for instance, if you pass policies that increase the rate at which trans people are killed, whether it be from preventing them from having necessary medical care or from forcing them to use the wrong bathrooms, which increases the chances of them getting hate crimes, which is statistically proven with scientific data, you are an evil person. You are a terrible, worthless, soulless, evil ghoul. You have no redeeming qualities. Name one redeeming quality of fucking Meatball Ron. You can't, because he's basically just a Nazi, right? There's no redeeming qualities. What has he done to help Florida? Nothing. All he has done is passed legislation that causes more people, specifically trans people, to die. That is what he has done. He is also in favor of censorship. What has he done that's good? Not trying to badger, just doing some back and forth, and that's fine. That's an incredible small percentage of the population. You were talking about utilitarianism, but it wouldn't be better to pass legislation that benefits... But wouldn't it be better? Wait. Benefits the larger... How do other people benefit from legislation that harms trans people? It's not just... And even if it was... there's like some slight... harm to them, kind of, sort of, because they pay 5 more cents every year when it comes to pay their taxes, right? It's not just about the number of people. It's also the extent of harm and the extent of good, right? So, again, the potential harm, quote unquote, that would be caused to, say, the taxpayers, that oh no, they have to pay 5 more cents every year because gender affirming care is covered or whatever the fuck. That harm is not even comparable to the amount of good that's caused per person, per trans person that's helped by it, and the extent to which it is helpful versus the harm that would be caused if they didn't have access to the necessary medical care, right? That's important, right? It's not just about the number of people that are helped or harmed, right? That's not what utilitarianism is. It also accounts for the extent to which somebody or a group of people are helped or harmed, right? It's the magnitude of it. You sound so smart. Did you go to college for this? I mean, I'm not that smart. No, I didn't learn this stuff in college. This is stuff I've just sort of absorbed over time, whether it be on the internet or whatever, right? So I will be honest, I have not taken a single philosophy or ethics class, right? All of this stuff is stuff I've taught myself, right? So I'm not like an expert philosopher or anything, but I have a generally good understanding of just in a very broad sense of the subject matter. Like, I have a general understanding in terms of like the nitty gritty stuff, or like the specific words that you might use to describe certain things I might not be fully aware of, but like I understand like the logic and reasoning behind it, right? Like, I've sort of taught myself that mostly from hearing other people talk. I absorb information really well from people talking, a lot more than reading. Reading is not the best medium for me. Like, if I listen to something at 3 times speed in terms of somebody talking, I absorb the shit out of the information. If I read something, I just forget everything I read, right? And that's one of the reasons I do stuff like this, right? Is I want people like me to be able to find out about information like this. In fact, I didn't know about this specific story until last night. My parents asked me about it. They were surprised I didn't know about it. But nobody on YouTube was covering it, right? And sure, you could say, well, that's kind of a silly place to get information from. And I sort of agree, right? I take what people say with a grain of salt. And if I'm not sure about something, I'll do additional research, right? But like, that's sort of like a starting point for me to get me really invested, right? Otherwise, I can't bring myself to read, right? And I want to do something similar to that. I want to be able to provide content where even if part of it is literally just me reading an article and giving my thoughts and feelings on the matter, right? I still think it's important because some people are like me. They learn better from listening to it, right? They see a title and thumbnail like this where it's innocent child murdered for being trans, and this is their first time hearing about it, right? I want younger people, whether it be, and by that, I'm using that term very loosely. By that, I mean people my age that are like 19, right? Some of this material might be kind of heavy for like a I don't know, like a child, right? Like, I don't know, like my content isn't for like young teens. It's for like old teens and people in like their early 20s, I think, right? Maybe this sort of sensitive discussion is best left to experts then. I disagree. You don't have to be an expert to have like a philosophical prescriptions, right? You don't have to be an expert to like analyze the logic and reasoning used by people that are, right? So it's going to be the case that like I'm not like an expert philosopher, right? But like I have a decent understanding of philosophy. I have a worldview, right? That's not to say my worldview is infallible, right? But I think that I have a generally good understanding of the world in terms of the philosophy of it, right? Go become a statistic. A rope. Yeah, normally I would make fun of you and bully you, but yeah, this isn't the time or the place, so bye. That's an incredibly small percentage of the population. Oh wait, I already read that. But with that being said, like you don't have to be like formally educated to have like a decent knowledge of stuff, right? Like, it helps. And you could argue I'm not like the most qualified person to talk about philosophy, but I don't think that philosophy is something that requires you to be qualified to talk about, right? Like, I would argue I probably have more authority in that I have more knowledge than most people in general. Like the average person doesn't think about why they believe stuff. The average person thinks that they believe stuff, but that's it, right? They don't think, why is this wrong? Why do I think that? Like most people don't ask themselves, well, hold on, why is it bad to commit murder, right? Before coming to a conclusion, right? This is something that, it's like, I've asked myself these questions, right? Not to say that I at any point thought it was okay to commit murder, but the fact of the matter is, I think philosophically just by default. Like that's just how my brain works. I intuitively have some understanding of it, right? That's not to say that my intuition is the ultimate arbiter of truth or whatever the fuck, right? That's far from it, right? But I think that at the end of the day, I don't know. You don't have to be formally educated to have opinions, but when people that are formally educated are telling you, hey, these are like the statistics, right? And here's what this means, right? And that's like the majority of people. It's generally going to be the case that they're correct, right? Now, it's better if you can understand why they're correct, right? But again, education is not the only means of having a basic philosophical understanding of the world, right? Again, it's helpful, right? In fact, if I take a philosophy class at some point, which I probably will just because I love the topic so much, right? I'm not going to major in it simply because I don't see what my career would be if I were to do that, but it's a topic that I care about that interests me, right? I will be significantly better and more nuanced when it comes to that topic, right? So what you have somebody like me who, even without education formally, I'm better than most people, right? I'd say that in terms of my understanding of philosophy, intuitively at least, in terms of not understanding the terms used to describe it necessarily, but in terms of understanding the logic and reasoning behind it, I would argue that I'm better than the average person that's taken philosophy classes. I unironically believe that, simply because I think there's a difference between memorizing stuff / information that you're taught and actually understanding the logic and reasoning behind it. Now, with that being said, they have a much better understanding than the average person if they've taken the class, right? And a much better understanding than they otherwise would. Similarly, I will also have a much better understanding if I also take philosophy classes, which at some point in the future I'm hoping I do, just because it's something that I care about, and it's something that interests me. I don't know why I haven't. So again, the point I'm making is don't undermine the importance of education, but it's not the end all be all, right? You can still be smart without it. So how is that kid innocent when they went in there to spy on women in the bathroom? So first of all, you don't have any statistical data to prove that this is something that's likely to happen when it comes to trans people using the bathrooms of their assigned gender at birth, or that don't correspond with their assigned gender at birth, right? It's also going to be the case that they are more likely to actually be harmed, whether it be in a hate crime or whatever, if they are forced to use the wrong bathroom that doesn't correspond with their preferred gender, right? So, yeah, no, you don't have anything other than maybe a single anecdotal experience, which in of itself doesn't really do anything, right? Now, I could be wrong, but considering the fact that this person was non-binary, and they were they were in Oklahoma, right? They got fucking murdered in the women's restroom at school, basically, right? That I'm guessing that would be their assigned gender at birth, right? I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that that's the case. In fact, it would have to be, right? Because because by then the law had been passed in Oklahoma. It was in Oklahoma, right? So no, we actually see examples of the opposite if you want to go for anecdotes. And I think that anecdotes can be useful, right? I'm not going to say that this specific example of a trans person getting killed isn't an anecdote, right? But the anecdote isn't the end-all be-all, I guess you could say. There is statistical evidence that backs this up, right? So it's not just an anecdote in of itself. It's an anecdote backed by studies, right? And that's going to be the main difference there. But with that being said, if you're non-binary, what bathroom are you supposed to use? It's ultimately going to depend on what the non-binary person wants. As for this would also be an argument in favor of having unisex bathrooms, but it seems to be the case that if this law might have been preventing that, I believe that every school and every building that has public restrooms is obligated to have a unisex bathroom, right? Because then we can just avoid the fucking trans bathroom discourse altogether, right? Because at the end of the day, take somebody like me, for instance, okay? I'm a trans woman, right? But I also don't think that I pass very well. Now, that might be up for debate. I guess it depends on how you look at me. Some people are going to be like, yeah, it's obvious you're trans. Some people are like, oh, I can't tell. Some people are, yeah, depends on if you're paying attention. With that being said, I'm not comfortable using the women's restroom because I don't want to be perceived in a negative light, right? I don't want people to take it the wrong way. So, as of right now, because I don't pass very well, well, first of all, I avoid all public restrooms. Secondly, regardless of that fact, I'm just more comfortable using a unisex bathroom, period, right? So I don't have to deal with that. I will literally just fucking hold my pee until I get home. If there's not like a unisex bathroom, I will do that, which is bad for you in terms of your health. But I'm at a point where it's like, I feel unsafe going into either bathroom. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe going into the men's bathroom, and I don't feel safe going into the women's bathroom. So, either way, you could argue, well, that's irrational. Just pick one and choose. Go. But I think it's perfectly rational. Because if it seems to be the case that if you go in one of the bathrooms, I don't know, you might end up like this innocent child, this innocent child who was fucking murdered from this. Why is so much being banned in chat? Because we're talking about somebody that was killed in a hate crime. So I'd be more than willing to debate you on this maybe later, but for now, I'm not interested in having all of this discourse. I'm not interested in debating this. Okay? Afraid of being wrong? No, I'm just going to time you out for 24 hours. You can debate me on a different stream, okay? This isn't the time or place. Again, we're talking about somebody that was killed. So I'm not interested in retarded discourse over whether or not I'm a real woman or whatever the fuck. I don't care about that. That's not what this is for. There's 12 people. What discourse? The people in chat. Learn to read. Are you in your mid-20s or early? Just curious. I'm 19 actually, so neither. Yeah, no, we're not. Yeah, no, like if you blatantly disrespect an innocent dead person who did nothing wrong, I'm just gonna hide your channel permanently. The TERFs found your stream, they did. You know, what's funny about TERFs is they're all more clockable as trans, as in they have more masculine secondary sex characteristics than trans women. You ever notice that? Also, I'm gonna add Patel Crafter as moderator. I don't know. I'm not a TERF. Feminists are dumb too. Yeah, but if you think about it, right? Like, I think that transphobia and the like the delusional hatred of the male sex, I think they go hand in hand, right? I think it perfectly illustrates the type of people we're dealing with. See, the reason why I think TERFs are a perfect go-to example of why transphobia is just retarded is because you start to see that these people hate men and trans women. So you can point to that and say, look, their hatred here is analogous. Their opinions of trans people and their opinions of men broadly are a one-to-one comparison you can make. So what you can do is you can point to that, and if you're, say, for instance, talking to a center-right teenage edgelord boy, right? Say, well, hold on a minute. Let's look at an example. Here's the rhetoric they use against trans people. And they might look at that in of itself and say, oh, that's not too bad, right? But then I point out the fact that they also apply that rhetoric to men as well, including you. And once they realize that they are included in the rhetoric that's used against them, they start to feel a little bit differently. They're like, well, I hate people like that. It's a man-hating feminist. And I'm like, I know. And they're like, but like, I mean, it's fine that they hate trans people and all, but why would they hate 50% of the population? What did men do to them? And I say, I agree. I know. And then they start to realize that maybe, just maybe, that this attitude, whether it be towards trans people or men, regardless of who it is, being applied to, is wrong. Because at the end of the day, oftentimes they don't want to be morally inconsistent. They don't want to be hypocritical. They want to be good people. They just don't realize if they aren't. So, with that being said, they might reevaluate their position. They might realize, well, hold on. Why do I hold them to a different standard when it comes to talking about a group that I'm a part of instead of a group that I'm not a part of? So they eventually realize that there's clearly a double standard there. Why should they be able to say these things about trans people, but not cis white men? And then they realize that at the end of the day, there is no real symmetry breaker there. All there is, well, blatant hypocrisy. But that's okay because they can change that. And that doesn't make them evil. It just means that they were misled by propaganda. That's okay. That doesn't make you evil as long as you're open-minded. You might not realize that you have been in support of something terrible. And I'm not going to take the fucking poly people approach of just labeling the average conservative voter as a Nazi. I'm not going to label them as evil or somebody that's not worth forgiving or helping, because at the end of the day, they're just being misled. And what's the best way to counter anti-trans propaganda? It's not to label everybody that doesn't support trans people as evil or as a Nazi, because they could just very well be misled. And at the end of the day, there need to be people like me who are willing to look at that and say, okay, well, they're misled. But if they're simply asking questions, they're not fully aware of the topic, they have a wrong opinion, you name it, why not talk to them about it? Why not share with them the correct opinion, share knowledge that you have with them that they might not have? If they're not privy to knowledge, of course they're going to come to wrong conclusions. To be fair, that's what you did earlier? No. That's what I make a distinction. There's a difference between Republican politicians versus the people that vote for them. Right? Now, I made a comparison technically to Nazis who vote for Nazi leaders. But then I clarified my statement by saying, but those people are misled. You can fix those people. You can help them. They're not ontologically evil. They're not always bad, necessarily. That's the key distinction. So, with that being said, I think that there's a difference between people in power and voters who might not be aware of what this legislation actually leads to. And that doesn't make you evil. It just means you don't have the necessary tools to come to the correct conclusions. If your entire worldview is contingent upon wrong information, of course you're going to come to wrong conclusions that are harmful. And you're not going to be aware of that. That doesn't make you evil. It just means that you don't have necessary information. But who will protect us from your opinion? I don't know what you mean by that. What would be the protection? You're a good speaker, Femyoz. Why, thank you. Trans people are being targeted in America? Absolutely. Ignorance is literally bliss? Yeah, it's very easy to just be ignorant, to not think about these issues, and that's fine. I understand not wanting to think about these issues because they might not affect you directly. In fact, this is a trap I fell into. I used to not care that much about any of these issues, whether it be trans issues, which didn't apply to me, so I didn't think about the legislation. Whenever it came to me thinking about politics a lot of the time, it was more along the lines of, oh, what's their foreign policy? Oh, you know, who's in favor of less taxes, right? That's how a lot of people, when it comes to voting, think. That's how my dad used to think. He didn't think, how does this affect people that aren't me? He just looked at it as, well, the Republicans are better because they don't make you pay as much taxes, right? So that's his level of analysis back then, right? So it's understandable that somebody might have analysis that I would consider to be harmful, something that is not preferable. And you could argue that maybe everybody should just operate in their own self-best interest, but I don't think that's how we make a good society. You could argue that, the Aryan race was operating in its own self-best interest. And from their perspective, they were. But that doesn't change the harmful outcomes. Whether or not you have positive outcomes attached to your actions is not contingent upon that. And I'd like to make it clear that it's also not a zero-sum game. When other people gain rights, you don't lose rights, even if you're not the one gaining them. I believe that everybody benefits from an equitable society. Sure, you could argue that the southern states were negatively impacted economically as a result of slavery being abolished. And in the short term, maybe you could make that argument. But I genuinely believe that as a whole, it was a net positive. Broadly, I don't think that slavery was necessary to have a good economy. Similarly, I don't think that infringing upon the rights of trans people is necessary for that either. You could point to short-term things, but that's not meaningful. Foreign policy and taxes are very important. They are. But what's more important than, oh, how many taxes do you have to pay every year if you're upper middle class? That's not nearly as important as whether or not more trans people die as a result of certain policies. There's a reason why politics goes beyond just taxes or foreign policy. It's more than just a single issue. And in terms of addressing certain issues, you should have some understanding of what the people you're voting for are in favor of. With that being said, the reason I focus so much on trans issues is not because I think it's the end-all be-all, but it's because I'm the most knowledgeable on the subject and because I care a lot about it. There are other people that talk about other policies, and I talk about other policies sometimes too. But this is my main expertise, right? So it's what I have the best understanding of. Either way, what are your thoughts on checking out of the system and just buying a patch of land and establishing off-grid eco-village, commune, and just live true communism that way? I mean, you could do that, but I don't think that addresses the broader systemic issues. I don't think that unfucks up the lives of other people, right? Again, I feel like it's kind of necessary to participate in society, right? With that being said, I really need to go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna play some sort of content. What content do I play? I don't know. I think that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play my old content. Yes, indeed. In fact, I streamed this 10 months ago. It's a stream on my channel called The Trans Genocide is Real. So while I go to the bathroom, I'm going to be playing this stream in particular. I don't want to play it at 3.25 times speed because that's what I normally watch stuff at, but that's not ideal. So instead, I'm going to play it at 1 times speed because that's, well, obviously more ideal. So, without further ado.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the show. So, I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna do a little bit of a shorter stream, I guess, specifically to talk about the trans genocide, which, and what I mean by that is, well, not only is there genocidal rhetoric, but, the reason why I titled my video this way is, very deliberate because, somebody made a video saying the trans genocide isn't real. So I thought, you know what would be a better title than saying the contrary? Unfortunately, it's not just the title because I'm a contrarian. But I thought, you know what? I thought I'll do a shorter stream today and just go over a very interesting looking video that I found. Now, I haven't watched it yet, so I'm going to be watching this for the first time with you guys. For all we know, this could actually be an absolute masterpiece of a video. But before we get on to watching the video, I guess I'll just welcome people from chat. Hello, Raymond42. Hello, Honeybuns #1 Bussy Consumer. And greetings and salutations, Pancake Panic. So yeah, now, all of you watching this probably are aware of the fact that I have a very, let's just say, interesting relationship with the commentary community. And, well, the video we're going to be watching is made by a commentary YouTuber. I think his name is Ween or something, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to be watching a video he made. So I guess I'll just have to pull it up real quick because, you know, because, reasons. I don't know if I have it saved, but, I guess I can just search his channel, right? And then I can find the video from there. I'm really hoping he didn't delete it. If he... Oh, yeah. Alright.
So right off the bat, a few things I want to mention, aside from the fact that I look a little bit different, let's be real. My hair is different, my voice is different, so I also sound different. I'm also not nearly as good at streaming back then. Bussy Consumer, yeah. That was their name. Yeah, so this is, again, this is something I've been talking about for ages, right? This is something that has been a point of contention with other people that disagree with me for a while. It's something that it's nothing new to the Femyoz YouTube channel, right? And I think that denying the obvious trans genocide that is being implemented by mainly politicians, but also there's genocidal rhetoric that is partially to blame, right? You know, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Because people have been saying, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, it's not that bad. And the bills back then were bad. They're even worse now. It's only gotten worse. So, again, you could argue, oh, you're just blowing things out of proportion simply because they aren't literally sending people into concentration camps. I mean, aside from when Republicans do that with immigrants, but don't talk about that, I guess. But in terms of the trans genocide, more specifically, yeah. Oh boy. But For anybody that's been saying, oh, Femyoz, you're overreacting, nothing's gonna happen. Things have happened since then. Things have happened that just go beyond is just, oh, they're just protecting the children. See, when I did this stream, this one from 10 months ago, it was on March 29th of 2023. The main argument was, well, if you're an adult, you should be allowed to do whatever you want. We just don't want kids to be transitioning. And I correctly pointed out the fact that no, it's not just kids that they have an issue with. They just say that as a justification temporarily. But as soon as they're able to prevent kids from having necessary medical care if they're trans, they move the goalpost, and suddenly it becomes less about protecting the kids, and it suddenly becomes, let's prevent adults from transitioning. Let's take away healthcare from adults. Let's prevent adults from using bathrooms that aren't aligned with the gender they identify, or that aren't aligned with the gender they were assigned at birth. And you notice that it was never actually about protecting the kids. If it was, they would have just stopped and been like, oh, okay, well, now that we've taken away this right from the trans youth, we're not going to pass any more laws that have anything to do with trans people because we set out the goal of protecting the kids, which, by the way, is bullshit. It doesn't actually protect the kids. And they would call it a day, right? But they didn't do that. So, again, it's also important to mention the fact that even if that was what they did, it would still be wrong. It would still be borderline genocidal, right? But I think it's important to note that it goes hand in hand, right? It's not just about the kids. It never has been. And you'll notice time and time again, when I make predictions like these, I'm right every single fucking time. So, can you prove it's real with unbiased statistics? Prove what specifically? That gender affirming care is something that decreases the suicide rate of trans people. If you want, I can go over that, and show you some different studies. But that's not really the point of this stream specifically. Because they don't pay attention to how it affects us trans people. If they aren't as passionate about the topic, they won't help the situation of trans people. Yeah, there are going to be some people that are like disaffected and don't care, right? The trans genocide you claim is real? Yeah. So here's the logical argument, okay? If, let's say, for example, hypothetically, there's a country, okay? And in this country, there's a certain category of people, okay? And in order for this category of people to survive, they need things like access to necessary medical care, okay? Now, if this category of people is refused necessary medical care, and then the obvious result of that is a shit ton of these people just end up dying, I would argue that that is genocidal. So, again, not a logical argument. Would you like an illogical argument instead? Because I am giving you cold, hard facts. The fact of the matter is, when trans people don't have access to gender-affirming care, they are way more likely to die. That is that is an empirically correct fact. Okay? And if you are doing something that makes it way more likely for somebody to die, that is definitionally, if you're doing this towards a specific group of people, your goal is to make it so that this group of people dies at a much higher rate, I would argue that's genocidal. So unless you have like a counter argument, I don't know what there is to engage with. Saying it's an opinion, okay. Is it an opinion that the statistics back up the foundational point of the argument? Is that an opinion? No, of course not. It's a fact, right? It's also a fact that this is the logical conclusion of certain facts. So it's not really an opinion. It's a fact and an accurate representation of reality that you don't like. that doesn't correspond with what you believe. You unclaimed. Okay, first of all, are you or are you not disagreeing with the fact that trans people die at a much higher rate when they don't have access to necessary medical care? I don't need a source to make logical conclusions like that, right? So if that's a statistic that's been proven and you don't disagree with that, then it's going to be the case that doing the thing that increases the suicide rate of trans people and that causes way more trans people to die and that erases trans people from existence is going to, by definition, be genocidal. I am not agreeing or disagreeing because I don't have the statistic. Okay, so let's say you agree with me. Why would my conclusion be unreasonable? Why would that not be genocidal? I'd like to know. I'm asking you to back up the claims you have made. Okay, sure. Trans suicide rates, gender affirming care. Okay? We'll make this very simple. All right? All right. Okay. Let's read a study together, shall we? I think that would actually be a great idea. Okay? All right. So, here we go. I'll even link it in chat. Just so that it's very obvious where the source comes from. I'll put it in the description. Hold on. Hold on. What would I title this? I'll just put it as sources in the description. Enter, paste. Okay. So it's going to be in the description, and then I'm going to link it in chat. So there's no ambiguity as to where I'm getting this information from. Okay? So, this was in March of 2023. Suicide-related outcomes following gender-affirming treatment. And this is literally the first study that comes up, by the way, if you Google this. So this is something you could have found, right? I don't even know if I've read this specific study yet. I've read quite a few. So here's the abstract, okay? Gender-affirming treatment remains a topic of controversy. Of particular concern is whether gender-affirming treatment reduces suicidality. A narrative review was undertaken evaluating suicide-related outcomes following gender-affirming surgery, hormones, and or puberty blockers. Of the 23 studies that met the inclusion criteria, the majority indicated a reduction in suicidality following gender-affirming treatment. However, the literature to date suffers from a lack of methodological rigor that increases the risk of type 1 error, right? So obviously it's not going to be perfect, right? There needs to be more research. But again, this is better than anything else that anyone would argue, right? It doesn't seem to be the case that there's like any counter studies or anything that says the contrary, right? If there was, I would know about it because people would definitely cite it, right? They wouldn't shut the fuck up about it, right? The closest we've gotten is studies that people have lied about and misrepresented, which I've gone over. So yeah, let's continue. There is a need for continued research in suicidality outcomes following gender-affirming treatment that adequately controls for the presence of psychiatric comorbidity and treatment, substance use, and other suicide risk-enhancing and reducing factors. This is true, by the way. There do need to be more studies that are done on this, right? But how do we do studies? Well, we don't ban gender-affirming care. That doesn't increase our base of knowledge, right? That would prevent studies from being conducted in the future and make it a lot more difficult, right? So, the whole point is, obviously, you would want more research to be done on this. That's the whole point, right? Sure, you don't have all of the information, but you're looking for it. You want to find it. You want the truth, right? And it seems to be the case that the overwhelming evidence is that it does decrease suicidality. That's what the overwhelming evidence suggests, right? You can't know with 100% certainty, but again, you can't know anything with 100% certainty. Let's continue. There is also a need for future systematic reviews, given the inherent limitations of a narrative review. There may be implications on the informed consent process of gender-affirming treatment, given the current lack of methodological robustness of the literature reviewed, right? So, yeah. So we already kind of read this. This is like all in the abstract, right? So if you go over this, and we're not going to read the entire study on stream. Again, I've linked it in the description and in the chat. But we'll read some of this, right? So the literature to date reveals concerning trends regarding suicidality in transgender individuals. A high prevalence of suicide attempts and thoughts of suicide occur in transgender youth compared to their cisgender peers. This is true. Transgender U.S. military veterans have more than 20 times higher rates of suicide-related events than cisgender veterans. The prevalence of suicidal ideation and attempts vary by sample, with the prevalence of suicidal ideation sometimes as high as 50 to 75%. Rates of of attempted suicide can reach peaks of 30% and above. One longitudinal study of over 6,000 transgender individuals in the U.S. indicates that the highest risk of suicide is among those under 18 years of age, which obviously makes sense, by the way, right? Because they're going to be the ones that have less access to necessary medical care on average. It's going to be the case that as a young person that's below the age of 18, it's going to be a lot harder to get gender-affirming care, right? So it makes sense that your suicide rate is going to be higher, right? Like that's not like a coincidence. That's just sort of how it is, right? Like it's not like it doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, no, like the suicide rate magically goes down as soon as they turn 18, right? It's like, okay, as opposed to 17 years old and 364 days old, right? It's not that their it's not that their mental state in of itself completely flips, right? It's going to be the case that because they have access to necessary medical care, that's ultimately what happens, right? So again, I'm not going to read the entire study, but I think this illustrates the point very well. You can research these things in your own time, right? Because at the end of the day, if you want to be intellectually honest, then that's like the number one thing you can do. In fact, it was actually the reason that I even became, I guess, a supporter of trans issues in the first place, or of trans rights. I specifically remember, I don't remember who I was arguing with or what platform it was even taking place on, and whether it be the YouTube comments or Twitter, but it was definitely something like that. And I was arguing against trans people because I thought it was illogical. It didn't make sense. And people brought up the idea of statistics, the idea that this is what the medical literature says. This is the objective reality. These are the outcomes, right? And I decided, well, they can't be correct. There's no way that they're correct about this. They're obviously just delusional SJWs that will say anything. And I thought, okay, well, clearly they're lying about studies, because it couldn't possibly be the case that I'm wrong. So I started looking into it. I started looking at studies, and to my surprise, I was wrong. And I looked for other studies to see, okay, maybe these studies are bad. Maybe there's other studies that say the opposite. So I kept looking for studies that would confirm my already existing belief. But eventually I realized that, oh shit, maybe I'm the one that's wrong about this. And I could have been intellectually dishonest and said, okay, I'm just going to ignore the studies and just go with what I already believe. But instead of that, I decided to actually reflect and think, okay, well, why is it the case that every single study I look at says the opposite of what I already believe? And eventually, the more I learned about the topic, the more I realized that my existing beliefs were wrong. Now, this was way before I came out as trans. This was before I had any idea in my mind that I was trans. But the fact of the matter is that I urge people, if they don't know much about the subject, to do research. Now, I'm not going to be somebody that's like, you have to educate yourself or whatever, 24/7, right? I'm not going to be somebody that's like saying that in like a passive-aggressive sort of way, right? This is information you should know, right? Like, it makes sense that a lot of people wouldn't know this information, right? That's the whole point of providing it, whether it be through me talking about it or linking it or whatever. I'm making the information available. Have you ever had a job or contributed to society? Actually, yes, I have. Believe it or not. For starters, I'm a student, right? So that's going to be like the main focus. And secondly, I've been a lifeguard. Thirdly, I think my content is helpful for some people. So, yeah, I don't think that like I'm a total failure. At least not yet. All right. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. What's your major? So, I've been majoring in I was majoring in like business administration and accounting. I was double majoring, but I've come to find that I have absolutely no interest, so I think I'm going to switch majors. That's not really that important. The fact of the matter is school is important, okay? If you can do school, do it, okay? If you don't get in too much debt though, okay? Look, it's complicated. This is only helpful for your ego, but you literally asked. You literally asked. Yeah, anyways, I don't know. If you're not going to be intellectually honest though, accounting and biz admin are good majors. No, I agree. It's just not for me. Like, I just have no interest in it. I fucking hate it, okay? Like, it's mental torture for me, okay? It's like, I don't want to do it, okay? I have no interest in the subject's material, okay? I tried forcing myself to be interested, okay? Believe me. It was a good faith effort. It just didn't fucking work, okay? I'm sorry. That's just sort of how it works. But with that being said, yeah, no, I think that this whole discourse at the end of the day, in terms of how, this has negatively affected trans people and whatnot, at the end of the day, it's just another example of me being right, despite what other people that are my detractors have said. Again, this is, also, I'm not gonna do fucking call-in VCs. You're a bit late for those. I used to do those all the time, but like people would just like they wouldn't have any actual arguments. They would just say the N-word to try and get my stream taken down, so we don't do that anymore. Anyways, yeah, so again, I want to go over my past live stream called The Trans Genocide is Real. Because again, I think that there's something important about being able to look back in retrospect and see, okay, what was I looking at to accurately predict what would happen? So, without further ado, look, I'm not interested in debating random people anymore. At least not on stream. I just don't care. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to debate you unless you have at least some semblance of clout. If I don't know who you are, then no offense, but I just don't care. Anyways, yeah, sorry. How does this genocide relate to 6 million people getting what? Okay, yeah, you're obviously trolling. All right. If you want to make better arguments, come back later. I guess. Oh no, they disappeared. What about Cloud? Because again, I have no reason to believe that you're not just gonna go on to try and say the N-word. So, don't waste my time. Come back on another stream. Bye-bye. So, keep in mind, I'm gonna be stricter on this stream than other ones. Just because we're talking about, like, an innocent child getting murdered as, like, the starting point for discourse, right? So, again, if this was, like, a more normal stream, I would be more lenient, just so you're aware. Normally I don't time people out for that. Genocide is hyperbolic. I don't think it's hyperbolic. I think it's accurate. But trans people do get attacked and killed every day based on their identity. Yeah, but that in of itself wouldn't be the genocide, though, right? The genocide would be actively pushing legislation and passing it that in a way that basically causes trans people to fucking die disproportionately, right? Where that's like the only outcome. So, anyways, let's. I want to get into sort of my analysis in the past, because I have talked about this specific issue, the issue with conservatives and Republicans passing this type of legislation that clearly and unambiguously leads to nothing but harmful outcomes.
Yeah, so... Okay. So,
What the fuck was
without
that?
further ado... Grab some popcorn, grab some... I don't know, your mom's titty milk. And,
What the fuck?
yo, I was gonna do a leafy thing, like fucking... You know what, just ignore the fact that I said anything, alright? Just...
Yeah, that would probably be for the better, not gonna lie.
Just pretend like, just pretend like nothing was said, okay?
Good idea,
Yeah, there we
Femyoz.
go. That's how you resolve all your problems, okay?
So true.
I've shit 3 times today. I
Good job.
thought I would try out Folgers coffee, but you know what? I kind of regret it now. Honestly, not my best decision. What is...
I love how the topic of the video is trans genocide. And the first thing he's talking about is something completely unrelated. Isn't that
This is
just
true.
wonderful?
to do, my
Sure
hoes and
is.
homos? How is it going, fellas? Today, we're going to be talking about trans genocide.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you gotta love the background music being used here. I assume the audio's okay. Hold on. I'll just do my thing where I check.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Imagine having audio issues. Couldn't be me. Can't relate. I would never.
Before this video begins, I do want to make it very, very clear that... Are my eyes giving it away that I've written down bullet points of disclaimers? Because I did.
I want to die.
Yo, me too.
I want to make this very clear, and
Ah, you get it, guys? The joke is that he slowly and awkwardly put on his sunglasses. And, wow, he's such a silly goose. You're not supposed to wear sunglasses inside.
although I've
This
been
is
making
true.
jokes thus far into the video, I do want to say that I do support trans people. I do...
Okay, well, that's good news. I'm glad you're not a literal, like, fucking Nazi. Like, wow.
Yes, what a high bar. Now, what's interesting is that this was the rhetoric that was used at the time. Is I don't hate trans people. I've got nothing against them. There's nothing wrong with being trans. Trans people are valid. But and then they would say some transphobic shit, right? Now the discourse has moved from that. It's not just, oh, you know, trans people are valid, but also I just want to protect the children, ooh-woo, right? So I want to demonstrate that, and keep in mind that when I was doing this stream, the discourse had already moved very far right compared to what it used to be, right? And it only got worse. You'll notice that the kind of discourse that's used even here by the person that I'm reacting to is a lot less hateful towards trans people than the discourse you would expect to hear today, right?
Wow, you know that it's gonna be a great video when we're setting the bar real high here.
Do not wish harm upon trans people.
Oh my God, what? Wow, what a saint. He's
Notice how the disclaimer is, I don't wish harm upon trans people, right? That's good. It's good to not wish that, right? What that tells me is that the person that I was reacting to doesn't have bad intentions necessarily, and would therefore not be aware of the fact that the policy positions that he's about to argue in favor of, even if it's just indirectly, he's not aware of the fact that, oh, this directly harms trans people. And I believe that this level of ignorance, right, is ultimately what leads to harmful outcomes, because people aren't aware of how this impacts people, right?
His disclaimer is literally the bare fucking minimum for being a decent human being. So I've got to wonder, why does he have to sugarcoat this? You just got to wonder. But yeah, I guess we'll get into that later in the video, huh?
I am not conservative. I'm also aware that this post that I'm covering, this little tweet, is the stance of a vocal minority, but
He's not conservative, all right? We'll have to be putting that to the test.
I mean, you can be, quote, not conservative, but have conservative positions, right? That's not logically impossible, so I don't even think that that's entirely relevant, right? Like, it's not about whether or not you fit into a certain category. It's about, like, if we're talking about an individual position, that's, like, not even relevant unless you're deliberately trying to push an agenda, right? Like, and while it could be the case that, like, okay, yeah, he's accidentally pushing a conservative agenda here, there's a good chance that he's not aware of that fact, right? Like, he doesn't actually realize that. That's not how he views it, right? And I think that distinction is kind of important, right?
Because there is a trans genocide, and what I mean by that is not we are literally being put into death camps, right? That's not what I mean when I say trans genocide. What I mean is there is a movement, a scarily large movement of conservatards who want to legislate trans people or queer people in general out of existence.
This is true.
They do so via banning gender affirming care for no reason, shit like that, right? We'll get into that in a bit, okay?
And everything I'm saying here is objectively correct, right? Like, this is something that's been going on, right? This is not a new thing, right? And you'll notice that it was kind of a new thing back then, but not entirely. It wasn't new, but it was newer. It was so you'll notice that this has been going on in terms of the actual legislation, right? In terms of that being an issue. It's been going in the direction that is clearly and unambiguously against trans people and their rights.
But it is a talking point nonetheless. You know, people are always talking about trans rights, right? But okay.
Yeah, because people are constantly trying to take them away.
Yeah, I've never understood this whole mindset of, oh, you know, why constantly focus on trans rights? I don't know, maybe it has something to do with me not wanting my rights to get taken away for no fucking reason. Maybe something to do with that. Maybe, just maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's just speculation on my end. Who fucking knows? Either way, I think it's perfectly reasonable to be of the position, to be of the belief that, yeah, this is an issue that needs to be addressed. There clearly and unambiguously is a trans genocide, whether you like it or not. That is what this is, definitively.
If people were just, like, chill, like, and I'm not trying to blame any specific individuals other than, like, conservative pundits, really, but when...
Yeah, and the politicians that pass legislation, right?
Conservative pundits are constantly talking about how trans people need to be eradicated, and how, oh, we're all just a bunch of degenerates who are just either grooming or being groomed by the Jewish cabal. And
yeah, and obviously this is a little bit of hyperbole, right? Like the Jewish cabal thing, obviously I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you get the point. the fact of the matter is, rhetoric does lead to legislation, right? If the conservative rhetoric is at point A, or sorry, at point B, but if it goes from point A to point B, then the legislation will most likely follow that. It will also go from point A to point B, because the legislation, to an extent, is going to be somewhat reflective of culture war talking points. It's not always going to be the case, but sometimes it is going to be the case. And I think that there are many instances, for example, if you take Meatball Ron's Florida, where you can tell, oh, okay, this is the case. Jewish cabal, yeah. Indeed. As somebody that works directly for George Soros, I can confirm that we're all transing the kids. We're transing them all, okay? So yes, you are right. Music Bismarty account 142. Wait, is that actual Music Bismarty? I don't think so. Wait. Hold on. Hold on. Wait, shit. I don't think that's actually him. That's got to be like a... There's no fucking way. I refuse to believe. Hold on, wait. I refuse... Oh, hold on. One sec. Go to channel... I stand corrected. Okay. I did not realize that. Welcome to the stream, I guess. I didn't know you knew of my existence. Jesus Christ. Anyways, that's a surprise. Yeah, anyways, fuck, where were we? Out of all of the streams, it has to be when I'm talking about a serious topic, of course. Of course. Fuck. You should have been around for the fucking Oris cosplay stream. There's a stream I did 12 days ago about somebody named Oris Cosplay. So Marty, if you're watching this, okay, there's this person named Oris Cosplay who admitted to sexting minors. I did a stream about this. I convinced her to do an exclusive interview with me, where I simply asked her some questions in the free marketplace of ideas. So I think you should definitely look into this Oris cosplay person. You know, she's a very special individual, to say the very least. I feel like this person is right up your alley, entertainment wise. This stuff is more along the lines of, yeah, here's me basically talking about a situation that happened where a child was killed, basically. So yeah. Anyways, fuck, where was I going with this? I got distracted. Yeah, anyways. Damn. Hold on, wait. I need to close certain tabs. I was not expecting that. Okay, anyways. Oh, fuck. This is a fucking autism moment. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Where was... Oh, fuck. God damn it. Where were we? Oh, right. You were watching an old video of mine, where I accurately... on the political rhetoric stuff, euphemisms are always just a step away from literal othering. Euphemisms begin to die when people become more confident in their prejudice and or ignorance. Yeah, like, that's the thing, is you can actually look at the rhetoric and see how it evolves over time. This applies to both sides, right? Like, my rhetoric has evolved, the rhetoric of my opposition has evolved, right? It's an interesting world we live in, right? And ultimately, it sort of reflects on the way the Overton window has shifted, right? So if the Overton window, like, generally it's going to be the case that over a very long period of time, right, the Overton window is generally going to shift left. It's not always the case. It's going to depend on the country. But in this country, in the great United States of America, it seems to shift left more often than not. That's not always the case. And it's not always going to be the case for every single issue. And you'll notice that since, say, for instance, 2015 or 2016, wherever you draw the line, doesn't matter. You may have noticed that the Overton window, if anything, at least related to trans issues and shit like that, has actually shifted right. So, with that being said, yeah, it's a weird world we live in, huh?
Shit like that, right?
Occasionally, I think it's okay to talk about trans wrongs. It happens sometimes, okay? And I think
I will give him credit. The trans wrongs thing is kind of funny.
You see, I see what he did there. Wow, this man should be a stand-up comedian.
Alright, I'm being a little bit of an asshole here. It was kind of funny.
I think it's good for discussion, for discourse. And although I don't want to have
Alright, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what he has to contribute to discourse.
discourse, and honestly, I just want to give
Spoiler alert, he contributes fucking nothing. Oh god, fuck. Hold on, I need to drink water and put on some fucking lotion. Jesus Christ, my lips are so goddamn dry.
you my opinion, and if you leave
Must be all the fucking estrogen I've snorted. Jeez.
the comment telling me about how I'm wrong, I probably won't give all that much of a
Okay. I mean, I'm not leaving a comment. I'm making an entire stream segment dedicated to you. I don't.
How generous.
Now, I don't personally expect anybody who, I make a video on or a stream on to give a shit. Okay, nobody is obligated to give a shit. It would be nice though if people that I criticize would, at the very least, be decent enough to consider the things that I'm saying. And who knows, maybe
Obviously, they usually don't.
we end up agreeing on everything. I mean, we're only 1 minute and 10 seconds into the video.
I do want to put my stance out there because maybe it'll create discourse for other people. I'm desperately
I guess it did.
You better believe that that is exactly what's happening. So mission accomplished in that regard.
trying not to be insensitive, but bear with me, I'm a little bit
Now, notice how, again, there's 5 trillion disclaimers. I feel like people wouldn't do this anymore. I feel like there wouldn't be 5 trillion disclaimers if somebody is making a video about trans issues, if they're taking the, I guess, more conservative position. I know he said he wasn't conservative at the start, but again, it could be the case that you're not, like, a conservative, but you take some conservative positions, right? Like, for instance, I'm not a conservative, but, I would consider myself to be, having the quote conservative position when it comes to gun rights, right? Like multitasking / listening. My good friend Bill the artist is looking for a trans companion in Texas but doesn't want to use Grindr. Do you have any tips on how I can help him find love? Replace companion with soulmate. Yeah, I don't know. A trans companion. Why specifically trans? Where does J.K. Rowling live? Notorious trans woman. Hold on, where does J.K. Rowling live? I know she's like British, but I don't know what specific somewhere in Scotland, I think. Wait. Okay, it seems like she moved to Edinburgh, Scotland, okay? So what I recommend that your friend do, I think that J.K. Rowling is a very lonely trans woman, and she lives in Scotland, so just have your friend move to Scotland, because that's where J.K. Rowling lives. She's like a very beautiful trans woman. Obviously, she hasn't gotten facial feminization surgery. That's sort of why she has like the square jaw, and that's why her face structure looks that way. But if you're specifically looking for people that look trans, then this is what you would want to go for. I don't know if she has a dick or not. It's hard to say. I guess I haven't really seen because you can do more with them, he says, but he's not gay. Look, it's not gay if the socks are on, okay? Like, listen. If the socks are on and the balls aren't touching, is it really that gay? Come on. I guess it's ultimately going to depend on how you define terms. Like jokes aside, the way we define sexuality is kind of arbitrary and a little bit, I don't know, it's kind of bullshit. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it's going to depend on like what you personally are attracted to, which I think is fair enough, right? Some people are going to be attracted to whatever, trans women and cis women, but not like trans men or cis men, and you could refer to them colloquially as straight, right? But you could also argue that oh, okay, well, they're if somebody is attracted to dick, right? Okay, maybe that's that's not entirely straight, right? It really like, all jokes aside, like, a lot of it just boils down to how we define terms. That's sort of my position on it. He seems to like ladyboys in the Philippines, but they keep billing him for money. That's so sad. Well, okay, does he have a lot of money? Because if he does, I guess he could just keep doing that. But look, I just think that, you know, like, if he were to move to Scotland, right, and get together with a beautiful trans woman, like this person on screen, you know, I think that would actually be really good. He does not. Has he ever considered getting a job or something? Like, you know, I think that like, for instance, I think that I don't know, like, there are a lot of jobs, like, for instance, he could live with his grandmother, right? And make music for a living. I think that'd be like a really good source of income, right? Like, if he were to like become like a professional eraser and become famous, like, that'd be awesome. Like, I think that, like, that's like the ultimate career path. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the SoundCloud grind, yeah, for sure. He actually does make music, and it's really good, honestly. Okay, but is it as good as Cyrax? Because if it's not as good as Cyrax, I don't know if I want to listen to it. Like, when I think of music, like, I think of something authentic, you know, like when I say Cyrax, I don't mean like the AI version. Like, Cyrax sucks. No. You're misunderstanding. Cyrax was very talented. What you're thinking of is the music created by AI Cyrax, okay? You may or may not be aware of this, but Cyrax isn't with us anymore. He died years ago. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why his family is doing this. But look, Cyrax has been dead for ages, and I hate to break it to you. But, you know, sometimes not everybody makes it all the way through. You know, I'm sure Cyrax would have been very successful as a musician, to say the very least. You know, he's attractive. He's like a heartthrob, you know? He's like every teenage girl's wet dream is Cyrax. That's what they all think of. You know? They don't think of Justin Bieber. They think of Cyrax. And I think that that's important when it comes to viewing people that aren't a lot. Oh shit, I just realized that we're talking about fuck. This is not the stream for this, okay? I'm sorry. Fuck. This is somebody actually died, and we're making, okay, no, we're not going to make this into a fucking Cyrax meme. Okay, I'm sorry. Fuck, god damn it. Yeah, no, the fact of the matter is, okay, long story short, Cyrax is dead. They made an AI version of him to try and profit off of a dead man. Yeah, I don't know. Like look, Femyoz got sidetracked. Yeah, look, yeah, no, okay, Marty, okay, one last thing. But before I talk about serious shit, which is what I'm supposed to do, oh fuck, I feel bad for doing this. God damn it. Look, do you know who Oris Cosplay is? I know I showed who she is, but what I didn't tell you about her is she is single, as far as I'm aware. Is your friend, you know, like, are they open to the idea of getting together with a beautiful, plus-sized, body positivity queen like Oris Cosplay? You know, are they open to that? Because you know, Oris Cosplay is a very good. She's good at everything she does. Okay. You know, now, much like Cyrax, she has been framed. You know, there have been false accusations, and a lot of there are a lot of things that haven't been explained well. I can't say that I have any aware of this person, but I can ask. Yeah, so like yeah, I think it would be like I get she has like a really good voice. And I want to show you like how people have you know, misinterpreted her, have framed her. The first thing we're going to be looking at is something to do with the way Oris likes to well, I don't know, I guess she just has a similar position or opinion as somebody like Flamenco when it comes to the way that minors ought to be portrayed, I guess we'll just say.
She apparently thinks it's okay to sexualize middle schoolers. Now, for my non-American subscribers, that is ages 11 through 14.
So let's read this epic Instagram post from Oris Cosplay. It says, "I don't understand what's wrong about looting Shiro. She's old enough to start middle school, and she's looted in the anime." Oh, guys, don't worry. If the child is depicted in a lewd context in the anime, it makes it okay, guys. Don't worry. Yeah, so like you know, people have used this to say that, you know, she's an evil person, but I think that, you know, maybe she's just misunderstood. You know, her and all of the other you know, minor attracted people. You know, that what if it's all just a big misunderstanding? You know, you never know with these types of things. You know, and a lot of this is, you know, I mean, Photoshop and Inspect Element. I mean, these are things that exist, right? So, you know, it's hard to say for certain if, you know, she's really innocent or guilty or whatever. You know, I think that you know, I think that the way she conducts herself is very look, this is not what this stream is for. I'm sorry, we've gotten really sidetracked. I just specifically wanted to spread awareness of this individual based on the, because oh god, wait, is that my cat? What the fuck? Hi. I don't know why she was meowing. Okay, so sorry. Anyways, yeah, where was I? Yeah, no, I just anyways, no, I just thought that Marty specifically, who I actually recognize, would be interested in that person. If you want, also, if you want me to, fuck. Okay, wait, actually, Marty, if you want me to send you, like, I guess, information containing this person, you can add me on Discord. My Discord is, Femyoz, Femyoz. If you want to know, if you want to learn more, let's just say. Again, this is not with. Sorry, I get fuck. I'm retarded. Okay, I get fucking sidetracked so goddamn easily. Jesus Christ. I can't stop myself from derailing on a live stream when even when the live stream is like a serious topic. It's a problem, okay? I'm sorry. Okay, anyways, where was I going? Oh, right. Something, I'm always right. Okay, I'll hush. Sorry to distract. No worries. I just wasn't expecting to see you, cuz like I've seen some of your content and found it entertaining. I'm guessing that I'm guessing you found my channel from people talking about me on your Discord server. I left your Discord server, right? Cuz people were being really weird about it. Yeah, I don't know. People were scaring me, okay? I was getting a little bit scared. People were saying some weird things, and I'm like, oh shit. I don't want to deal with this shit. That's the thing, is I think I had left like one single message like a while ago. Nobody said anything for a week, and suddenly I wake up and on my Discord it's like, oh, there's like 5 trillion notifications. Although you aren't Asian, yeah, I'm not Asian. Maybe I could do you know who Ollie London is? Maybe I could do like a transracial surgery to get together with Bill, you know? Bill kind of looks like that man on the wall. You mean he looks like Bald Martin? Oh my god. Holy shit. I basically, I almost just fucking exploded my pants just thinking about that. If he looks like Bald Martin. Look, my DMs are open. I'm just saying, if he looks like the beautiful bald man on my wall. I'm just saying. Okay, look, okay, fuck. Sorry. Yeah, no more getting distracted, okay? No more distractions. This is meant to be a serious stream. Fuck. His album N-Word Island is honestly a masterpiece. It sure is. Anyways, let's continue. Sorry. Fuck.
Retarded. This all stems
We're all retarded sometimes. It's okay.
around this tweet. That's the word I was looking for. This all stems around this tweet that says, "This is what genocide looks like."
Okay, let's see. Tennessee's legislature gives trans youth 1 year to detransition. The state
Clearly, I'm very good at reading, and definitely not illiterate. Jesus Christ. I guess some things never change, huh?
will also ban drag performances in places where minors may be present. How? Okay. Alright. Okay, Ween. Yeah, no, that's not genocide. That's just trying to ban trans people from existing. Oh, yeah, no, that's not genocide. But Femyoz, they're just banning trans youth from existence. They're not banning, trans adults. Well, unfortunately, your argument falls flat on its face as soon as you realize that, you know, that there was a bill proposed in Oklahoma that, let's just say it aims to ban gender-affirming care for anybody up to the age of 26.
Yeah, and you have more bills like this, right? So it's like the whole protect the kids argument doesn't work. Like, it was just kind of like a bullshit argument that people would make, when in reality, they ultimately moved the goalpost, right? So, at the end of the day, it's just another example of me being right. God, it's so hard being right all the time. Yeah, and anyway, sorry. No, I meant to take this seriously, my bad. Fuck.
Yeah, no, this is not a joke. This is a real bill that was proposed, okay? 26. All right? Not just 18, okay? So people who have been able to serve in the military for years are basically there's a possibility that they're not able to get gender-affirming care that they need to not fucking kill themselves, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who does this benefit, realistically? Nobody. Nobody benefits from this. Aside from the Republican politicians who, once again, are basically just evil, right? Like, they have no redeeming qualities. They don't care about benefiting their constituency, right? Like, that's never really their goal, right? Their goal is power and money, right? That's all they care about.
Right?
Again, that goes for most politicians, but they're especially bad about it, right? Like, they're worse, right?
So, I don't want to hear any of this, oh, well, it's just to protect the kids, LOL, kind of bullshit. Because nobody proposing these bills gives a fuck about the kids, okay? They don't care about protecting the kids. They're not anti-grooming or anti-abuse, okay? But fucking half these people are fucking pedophiles, okay?
This is true, by the way. Pedocon theory is very real. Once again, me spitting straight facts, and I'd like to add on to that this statement specifically aged well in terms of the whole concept of reducing abuse and whatnot, right? The way that abuse would be reduced, or in this case, murder, it would be the opposite of these anti-trans bills that are being passed in terms of legislation, right? So it's going to be the case that, once again, like if we're talking about this bathroom bill specifically, this bathroom bill, we can specifically point at and say, this led to this innocent child's death, right? This innocent child died, right? So I don't think it's, and again, anecdotal evidence in of itself is not enough, right? So it's going to be the case that I need to stop saying it's going to be the case 24/7. I do this thing where like I'll have like a certain set of words that I say a lot. There's like why are you using a child's death for content? Because I think this is important to talk about, and also you can literally support the victim and their funeral and the linked message. Like I've replaced my Streamlabs link for this stream for a reason, right? Like there's a reason I replaced it with a GoFundMe that directly supports the family of the person that was killed, right? So, anyways, fuck. Yeah, anyways, Jesus Christ. I need more Adderall. Oh my god. You ever just need more Adderall? Yeah, that's me. Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna end stream soon because I'm like, my brain is not, I mean, my brain never works, but druggy, it's so true. Okay, to be fair, I'm not Keffels, okay? I'm not Keffels, okay? There's that, alright? At least I'm not Keffels. Drug addiction isn't cute. Are you saying it's not absolutely adorable when Keffels does the thing where she has 30 seconds of dead air between sentences, most likely so that she can snort another line of cocaine? Are you saying that's not cute? I think it's actually fucking adorable when she does that. It's actually my favorite. I think she should actually snort more cocaine. It's awesome when she does that. Yeah, anyways, fuck. Okay, look, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I think I'm not in the right fucking headspace to cover this anymore. Jesus Christ. I feel like I probably shouldn't be making edgy jokes like that. In this specific context. Normally it's fine. It's questionable right here. So my apology. Look, I'm fucking retarded. I need more Adderall. That's the conclusion. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else I wanted to say? Not really. It's the first time you've done this kind of stream. Yeah, it's like really weird because I'm talking about like a really serious topic where it's like, oh shit, like I have to be like I have to act differently. So it's like, if I act how I normally act, it's like, oh shit, wait, am I being disrespectful right now? And it's like, oh fuck. Like I don't want to be like disrespectful to like yeah, like you get the point. Like I don't want this to be like in poor taste. I don't know. Maybe I probably shouldn't talk as much about because like, look, whenever I'm streaming, especially if I've been streaming for like an extended period of time, my natural inclination is to just be like super entertaining and energetic, right? But I feel like if I do that, it makes it look like I'm not taking this seriously, right? So then that's like, oh shit, but I can't do that. But I naturally do it anyways because my brain is in streamer mode, okay? And then I have to also tell myself, oh yeah, don't fucking Don't fucking make this into a joke. But then also I get distracted like I do on every other stream. Cruel satire is the path to coping. At least that's how dudes do it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's like a dude specific thing. I don't know. Maybe there's like there's definitely like a way that people are socially conditioned. Right? So you could make that argument. Yeah, maybe. It could be the case that dudes do it more. I don't know. I guess I would have been socially conditioned that way. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it. It's just that I'm doing it on a public platform where I need to be more careful. Because I don't want people to get the wrong impression, right? I don't know. Oh, fuck. No. Now there's dead air because I'm thinking about what I'm saying before I say it. This is bad content. I'm so fucking sorry. Oh god. I'm having a fucking not mental breakdown. That's the wrong word. I'm not all there right now, okay? I'll admit it, okay? I'm not mentally well doing this stream, okay? Look, I'm retarded, okay? I am a certified retard, okay? I think we all know that. Perhaps it might just be the case that maybe I'm not the right person to cover serious stuff if I can't take it seriously. So, with that being said, note to future self. Take stuff more, don't cover stuff that needs to be taken seriously. But if you want to talk about it, we understand. Yeah, well, that's the thing is I do want to talk about it, right? But it's like if it comes across as me being somebody that doesn't care or doesn't take it seriously, right? Then that might come across the wrong way. It might come across as like me making fun of it, and I don't want that. I don't want to give the wrong impression. Like normally I don't care that much about optics, but unless you want to do a pre-recorded VOD about the subject, yeah, maybe that's what I should have done. I don't know. That probably would have been better. Like if anything like this comes up, but then again, the whole point of streaming is like it's like current stuff. Like it's right now. I want to talk about it as quickly as possible, right? And I feel like when it comes to talking about something as quickly as possible, better to do that on a stream, right? Like my videos are like I want them to be like super highly edited, right? So I would have to edit for like 12 hours, 2 days in a row in order to get a video out, like while it's still relevant, right? Us dudes mix 9/11 with that direct. Okay. 9/11 jokes are funny because look, but that's different because A, it happened a while ago, and B, because it's funny. I don't care. Sorry. Look, if we're talking about like an individual dead person that literally just died like the other day, I feel like I don't know. Then take it seriously. There's a time and a place for everything. Then when you feel goofy, switch topics. Yeah, but that's the thing is I was also switching topics, right? Because I feel like I covered everything that needed to be covered. But then it's like, oh, but the title and thumbnail is still this. So if I'm talking about something that isn't this in the title and thumbnail, is that bad? I don't know. I think I might have the opposite issue that I used to. I used to just not care about optics at all. I think I've sort of reached the opposite position where I care too much. There's obviously going to be some sort of middle ground. If I die, I'd rather be turned into a meme than mourned. I guess that's true. I just didn't, I don't know the person that died, right? Like, I don't know them personally. I don't know exactly what they were like. All I can go off of is the way that people have described them, right? That's the issue, right? I don't know if they would want that or not, right? I have no idea. With that being said, I just no, because people do that. Everyone changes topics in midstream, regardless of the title. I guess. But like that's the thing is like, okay, what if somebody clicks on this and then I'm like, and then instead of talking about innocent child murdered for being trans, I'm talking about Oris cosplay because Music Bismarty is in chat and I think it would be entertaining. Like I don't know. Yeah, it's I think you're overthinking it. You're probably right. I think that maybe I've dealt with the optics police too much. I think that might be the issue. See, I used to be someone who is like, you know what? Fuck it. I will say every single slur during live streams. I don't care if that harms my channel or me or anything like that. To, oh, I don't know if I want to change topics in a stream because, like, what if hypothetically somebody were to click on the stream and then they were to see me talking about a different topic and then they perceive it to be it's like, okay, now I'm just being schizophrenic, but in the opposite direction, and we don't want to do that. It's sad to talk about somebody getting murdered for 2 hours straight. That's true. I think that I only have the mental capacity to talk about something like this for like a however long. And I think that when I was directly talking about it rather than talking about it, I guess, would be the way of putting it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else I could have done to cover it well other than cover it longer or end stream right after I finish covering it. Either way, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm definitely overthinking it. That might be the issue. Look, if you try to please everybody, you please nobody. You end up with bad content. In fact, I caught myself doing the Keffels thing where I paused for like 5 trillion seconds in a row. There was dead air in this stream because I didn't know what to fucking say. That's a problem. I don't want to have dead air. I can't be not entertaining. But at the same time, if all I'm focused on is entertainment, and I'm talking about a serious issue, then isn't that I don't know if that's shitty or not. Would I get mad if somebody else did it? I guess not. So maybe I shouldn't be getting mad at myself. I think that I obviously hold myself to a higher standard than I hold other people to. Maybe that's an issue I need to work on, right? There's a reason that this stream is not doing as well algorithmically, right? People are going to be less likely to watch this, right? Because at the end of the day, if I'm less focused on the entertainment aspect, might be an issue. It's also going to be something that YouTube is going to recommend less. Like if you have a word like murdered in all caps in the title, YouTube probably won't like that very much. They might see that and they're like, ooh, that's a little bit controversial, right? So it sort of kills the stream. Move to another serious topic. Yeah, but I don't want to force it either, right? It doesn't have Vosh in the title. This is true. I get like 5 times the amount of concurrent viewers if I put Vosh in the title and thumbnail. That is one of the issues, right? Again, I don't want to talk about Vosh over and over and over and over and over again, right? The issue with that is you end up with an audience that only watches one thing, and B, you end up with you get bored of the topic, okay? And I feel like that would reflect in my content, right? Like if I were to like force myself to keep talking about that, don't gotta turn it into Jalen with Dream. Yeah, that's the thing. Like you can farm it, you can milk it, right? I think that's like a perfectly acceptable thing, right? But you should also aim to do other content that also isn't that thing, right? It can be adjacent to it as well, right? But it shouldn't just be Vosh, right? I feel like after a while, you lock yourself in to this specific topic that inevitably people are going to stop caring about. It's not going to pull in new viewers anymore. So you have to inevitably talk about something else. I'd for real watch you play Minecraft. Yeah, and that's something that I'm probably going to do more often every once in a while. Because I do know that there are people that do want me to bring back the fucking Minecraft series. Maybe. I don't know. That shit is so old. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to end stream soon simply because I do have to go to a class because I am in college. And ultimately class is going to be priority number one over YouTube, unfortunately. Even though YouTube is more fun. As fun, I guess this specific topic isn't particularly fun, but it is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I also need to add timestamps. So, Femboy plays Minecraft Season 2, Episode 1. I mean, I would be playing in the same world. It would not be rolling in views, trust me. It's like, viewership-wise, it does worse, but, like, the people that watch it really like it, right? So it's like, it has, like, a smaller but, like, more dedicated audience to it. So I should bring it back. I don't know, I feel like my channel kind of died before the Vosh stuff, right? Like, and that's not to complain, right? Like, it's not like, oh, boohoo, poor me, I have 8 concurrent viewers when I should have at least 20 or whatever the fuck, right? Like, obviously, depending on what you talk about, it's gonna go up and down, right? And that's the thing, is I'm gonna experiment with content. To be fair, you've got 1.7k subscribers. Yeah, well, I feel like, I don't know, like, yeah, but I've been streaming for a while, right? Like, I should have more concurrent viewers by now, right? Like, I feel like, okay, considering the amount of effort I've put in, it's like, okay, maybe I should have, like, more viewers, right? But that's not, like, the end of the world, right? Like, it goes down. Like, that's the other thing, is, like, the concurrents go up and down, even when it comes to, like, random content that's, like, one-off, like this. Like, this is one-off content, right? And, you know, like, compared to other one-off content, it doesn't do particularly well. Politics may give you views, but sometimes they're not the good kind. Yeah, that's the thing, is, like, okay, I don't know if, because I also want to talk about politics sometimes, right? You'll notice if you go to my channel, right? Like, in terms of the content I cover, right? And I like to analyze the way I do this stuff, right? Like, so on my stream from a day ago, I was getting 30 to 55 concurrents on average, right? Like, I think 55 was, like, the most, right? And I'm getting 7 on this, right? So clearly some content does better algorithmically. Now, the thumbnail style is the same, like, in terms of the way I make the thumbnails, etc., right? But some stuff just does better than other stuff, right? With that being said, I think it's fine that the algorithm promotes some stuff over other stuff. But, like, you'll notice that, like recently, I've been covering a lot of YouTube drama, right? So the people that come for the YouTube drama stuff aren't going to be as interested in this, right? It's like, this is drama. This is basically drama. Drama, basically drama. It didn't do nearly as well algorithmically, but still kind of well. And then you have a utilitarianism debate, and it's like, okay, it does less good. Drama, like, again, like, so I've been very drama oriented lately. So I don't want to lock myself in that specific niche. In fact, I think I was better about this in the past, right? So, like, you look here. Actually, I had the opposite problem where I never talked about drama, right? But, like, if you go here, like, this is, like, politics stuff. And then here you have drama. This is, like, the first drama stream, kind of. Because it is framed more as, like, a, yeah, this person sucks kind of way. Like, not just for political reasons, but just because they suck, right? And then you start seeing more drama over time, right? I think that it's good to cover drama, but I think that sometimes I also want to cover other stuff. You know what I mean? Drama Vultures W. Yeah, no, like, I think that the primary thing I'm going to be covering is drama in the politics community. Like, I don't know if anybody here knows who Queeman is, but, like, and this is going to be, like, the last thing I talk about before I end stream, right? But, like, if you look at his channel specifically, right, you see, okay, well, what is he talking about? Well, he's talking about drama, but what kind of drama? It all is in relation to the Twitch politics community, kind of, or like the political streamer community. So it doesn't directly talk about politics. It indirectly talks about it. But indirectly talking about politics can still serve utility, right? Even if the title isn't, here's what's happening in terms of legislation being passed. Here's the big political story. It's about people that cover political stories, which sometimes requires a certain level of political analysis, at least if you're doing this successfully, right? Like if you look at the stream he's doing now, right? Like it's infinitely more successful than this. You'll see, oh, look, Destiny in the title, right? Okay, this is obviously yeah, either way, he's set up a very specific niche for himself, right? And I think that this is the kind of subject matter that I'd probably want to cover, right? Because there is stuff to talk about, right? Like there's drama with progressive victory. There's drama with food shops. There's drama with Stardust. There's drama with all sorts of different things, right? That can be talked about. So ultimately what you do is you take drama and you frame it through the lens of politics, and vice versa. You take politics and frame it through the lens of drama. These are both possible, and they're intertwined, right? And you can do both at the same time, really, which I think is useful, right? Like if you want to get people that aren't necessarily that engaged politically, that just like watching people talk shit on the internet, you're going to get them to care a little bit more, right? If they care about YouTube drama, they'll care about drama surrounding political streamers, potentially, right? Again, I think that that's going to be my niche, is what is going on with political personalities on the internet. What's happening with Keffels? What's happening with Vosh, Xander Hall, food shops, Stardust, Destiny, Mr. Girl, Hunter Avalone, whatever the most recent drama is, progressive victory, you name it. Brianna Wu even, maybe, though that might be a little bit too specific to politics. Either way, I think that there is stuff you can do in order to make good content that also promotes the the right values, right? You don't have to directly talk about politics necessarily. So, I know that this was like a one-off stream where like the main point was to talk about, like the specific news that happened. With that being said, I also decided to talk about the future of this channel. Debunking videos on both sides kind of go crazy. Potentially, yeah. We'll have to see. I mean, I'm like a massive contrarian, so that might be something I'm good at, right? And obviously I'll give my own conclusions, right? Not to say that I would be unbiased necessarily, right? Like I admit I'm biased, right? Like yeah, obviously. Like if I have leftist politics, right? Yeah, obviously I'm going to be biased, right? I think as long as you're honest about that fact, right? But you explain that, okay, yeah, sure, I'm biased, but I think the bias is warranted. I think that's like a fair position to have. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I think that does basically wraps up everything I wanted to say. Yeah, you could try and make a video on Think Before You Sleep. The guy isn't outright crazy, but they give their sources. I have considered it. Like, if there's like nothing going on, that would be like one of the one-off streams, right? Is like, this guy's a fucking weirdo, loser, maybe. Like it'd be like a one-off, not a one-off stream like this, because this one's contingent upon like the context of what's happening in the fucking news, right? But yeah, I don't know. But like that'd be like something where it's like there could be nothing going on and I would talk about it, right? But that's when I would talk about it, as if there's like nothing going on. So it'd be like on the like sort of like the back burner, I guess, if that makes sense. Anyways, sorry, I've been rambling a lot. I'm going to end stream. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, let me know by smashing like. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, or content from me generally. I mean, I guess content like this is probably not something you want to see more of. You probably don't want to see more situations like these. But if you want somebody that like me that's willing to cover them, let me know. And I will see you all in the next one. Unless I die in a tragic house fire, of course. But yeah, anyways, I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.